morning, good evening from wherever you join. Welcome to day 6 of Copilot Studio training program. It's the second part of autonomous agents. From yesterday, we started our autonomous agents journey and we created a couple of use cases yesterday. Now, today, there are on top of that, we need to talk about some more advanced actions in the world of autonomous agents. So, today, we will start our journey first by connecting the custom connectors. Sometimes there is a need where we need to connect the external APIs, third-party endpoints. So how you can build the autonomous agents with those, that's something we will look at in the first use case. After that, we will be talking about one of the interesting concept in the Copilot Studio called dynamic chaining. So what is dynamic chaining? What are the things you can achieve with the dynamics chaining, and what kind of prompt you can use for dynamic chaining? We'll talk about that thing with the example. So we will uh, talk about that with the example itself in the case study, and we will connect our Power Automate flow as well with the Copilot Studio actions. So we'll work upon some sort of approval processes, and from our Copilot agent, we will call it the Power Automate flow and send the response back to the agent. So we'll perform that entire end-to-end action over there. At last, we will be talking about the custom actions or custom prompting, specifically the AI actions. Sometimes we have a scenarios like wherein we are having some sort of feedback system and all, and people are submitting different feedback every day, and from those feedback you want to promptly respond them that okay, whether the feedback is positive, negative, neutral, mixed, no matter what kind of feedback you have, but you want to respond them. So for that as well, you can use some sort of AI prompt action available in the Copilot Studio. So there is a option available to create your own action itself in the Copilot Studio with the AI builder. So how we can do that, we'll talk about that. And at last, we'll talk about the schedule trigger for autonomous agents. So far we talked about the different autonomous agents and all, but schedule trigger is also important. So let's say on a daily basis you want to run your agent at frequent time interval that perform some sort of execution automatically and perform some task. So how can we do that? We'll talk about that at very last. So that's the full-fledged agenda, and with that we will complete the action and trigger by this class. Okay, so let's get started by building our first agent. But before that, let me tell you one more interesting thing that we faced yesterday as a part of problem. So yesterday when we started building our Copilot agent, right? Specifically, we are building our auto schedule agent, which is taking the booking appointment automatically, right? And we tried on the fly that okay, we change our prompt so many times and still it was not working and all. Okay, so what I have discovered after that okay, what was the problem? Okay, the problem was not anything. It's just like what I have simply done is, even if I try to modify the same agent multiple time, it was not working. Okay, so when this kind of situation is happening to you, when your agent is unable to respond you or unable to follow your instruction, okay, the good thing is that the simple Microsoft principle which we use with any Microsoft product is close it and reopen it, which means that here if we are not just closing it, I just deleted that agent completely and I created a fresh agent from scratch and I provided the exact same thing over there and it works perfectly smooth. And this is what I have observed while following today's POCs as well. Like today's POCs are also very sensitive POCs. We maybe it is possible during live you will face some glitches. Okay, so now I know some sort of solution or workaround that okay, if that is happening, maybe just park that and create a new one and do it. Okay, so maybe hopefully today, finger crossed, will not face any problem, but this is what I did yesterday, but hopefully in today's proof of concept or use cases will not face this problem. Okay, so without further delay, let's get started with our first use case for today's class, which I wanted to talk about. And what is the level of complexity there? Let's talk about that. So the main thing over here I wanted to explain here is we want to build an autonomous agent with Excel files and custom connector. This is something which we are doing for the very first time in all the use cases. So first of all, let me show you the Excel outcome which I wanted to use to train my knowledge base. Okay, so basically this is one kind of Excel spreadsheet I do have over here, which is having the different kind of cart part information. So different parts for car are stored over here. Almost you can see it has unique ID over here, like part number, then what is the part, who is the supplier for the part, what is the price in US dollar for each part. Okay, are there any discount or not, or what is the stock status of the inventory for that particular part. Okay, so this is the base information I do have in my Excel spreadsheet. Okay, now what I want to implement as a part of my agent activity is people can request, maybe your organization is having one common email address where different customers are asking you for the pricing, because these pricing are frequently updating maybe. Okay, so they are asking you that, okay, give me the quotation for this three product or this four product, what would be the price for that. Okay, so what I want to do is from my knowledge base I automatically fetch this information and need to draft a proper table structure for them, that okay, these are the parts you have requested, and this is the information that you have, and just wanted to send that information to them. But now again the challenge is that these parts are in US dollar currency. Okay, these are not in the local currency. But my customers are somewhere, because my organization, this is like a global organization, so they are having inventory in the dollar. But depending on, like, okay, which region you are covering, let's say specifically this is the agent we are building for the specifically India region. So whichever price range that I'm getting in the US dollar, I want to convert into INR, and then I want to send them a price. Okay. Now challenge here is, okay, how do I get the latest currency conversion rates, right? We need to rely on some source for that. We cannot just do the random Google and find the current exchange rate for today and just do the calculation and send it to the customer. For that we need to build one custom connector. We can rely on some sort of APIs for that, which will provide us some sort of currency exchange rate, that okay, today what would be the dollar to India INR conversion, or maybe let's say if you are working in any other country, what is the dollar to Australian dollar conversion or dollar to pound conversion. Okay, we need to get that information from custom connector, and then we need to combine or club the result together, that okay, you are getting from knowledge source the pricing in the US dollar, now what would be the pricing in the INR, and final result I wanted to submit as a result via email. Okay, that's something I wanted to achieve with this particular use case. So how many things are involved into this? So first, knowledge source, this one. Second is finding the data from knowledge source. Third thing is to get the INR rate using custom connector. Fourth, you need to club the result, and fifth, you need to send an email action. Okay, so this is what I wanted to build as an end outcome for my customers. Okay, so let's get started and talk about this in detail now. Okay, and again, for today's class I already uploaded all the files right away before the class itself, so if you want to have a look, you can have a look over there. Okay, so without further delay, let's get started. So this is the exact thing which I've explained to you. That is something which I have mentioned over here, like what exactly we wanted to achieve as a part of the different steps. Okay, so now let's get started by building our agent for that particular requirement. So what I have done as a part of just prerequisites to save a time a little bit is I just created this PriceMate 1.0 agent over here for myself, and I just uploaded the Excel as a knowledge, because that this will take some time in order to train the file. Okay, so this is one step I have done as a part of prerequisites only, so that I can just save a little bit time over here and we can focus on the other action, specifically like custom connector concept and all, because this knowledge based training we already learned in so many classes earlier. So I just used in knowledge base and I just uploaded that Excel spreadsheet over here, and after that it just take few minutes to load. You can see just an hour ago I just uploaded it, and it just take around 5 to 10 minutes in order to train that particular file. So this is the only activity I have done into this particular agent at this point. Okay, now the thing is that my knowledge base is ready. Okay, and as we know, we want to build the autonomous agent. So as a first part, we need to always turn on the orchestration. So let's turn on the orchestration as generative AI orchestration. So I'm just turning that on. And now let's first test out very basic thing over here. Although our requirement is to get the product information, people are asking for the quotation via email. But let's just first chat via this chatbot interface and see at least the knowledge base is working or not for me. Okay, so maybe I can just write some sort of prompts over here in order to find out the outcome. So maybe I can just ask like, please provide me the quotation for below products. Okay, maybe I can just, let's say in this spreadsheet, let's say we have 20, 21, and and these are the products we have here. Okay, so maybe let me just ask like this. Please provide me price quotation for the below products, and let's at least test that knowledge source is working or not. Whenever we are having multiple things for our agent to perform, at the time it is always good that every individual step you will test it. So first I'm just testing my knowledge base over here, and I already turn on my orchestration, so it will use this the generative AI action. Let's hit enter and see at least whether it will provide me as is information at this point or not. Okay, so see, it just go to the knowledge source over here, and it looked at the file, and it just give me the information that okay, the price for car part 20 side mirror model 20 is 424.55 US dollar, and price for 21 steering wheel is 649.36 US dollar. Let's just verify this pricing first. Okay, 424 and 649. So yes, it is matching perfectly. Okay, so at least my knowledge source query is working fine. So at least so far I'm good to make this query. Okay, trigger we will add at the very end. First we will focus on all the action that we need to perform one by one here. Okay, so now I'm getting this pricing, I'm all good with this. Now the next part here is I need to convert this US dollar into Indian rupees. Okay, and now as I said, how can we get that information? We just don't want to use the general knowledge, or maybe we just don't want to use like any random query on the Google and wanted to get that result. For that we want to use one concept called custom connector, so which means third party API. Now again, this concept work for any kind of custom connector. In your Power Apps, Power Automate, whichever custom connector you have built in the past for your CRUD operation, or maybe for your retrieval purpose, or for any other activities, you can use the same concept over here. People who have already attended some of my Power Apps and Power Automate classes, we are always having the custom connector dedicated session on that time, and we are creating different custom connectors over there. Okay, here as well we will create our fresh custom connector from scratch, maybe for the previous student who are already in my Power Apps and Power Automate, maybe it's a revision for them, but those who are completely new, for them I'm just explaining that custom connector part. Okay, so for currency conversion, what API I'm going to use it, let me show you that. Okay, this is the paid API again, but again, they are providing free trial and all. If you want to try it out, you can try that API endpoints. Okay, otherwise you can purchase it out if you really required it. But again, the same principle work for any kind of custom connector which you are building in the world of Power Platform. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, to start the custom connector, where we need to start our journey with. So basically custom connector can be added from the actions inside your agent. So when you click on new agent, there is an option to create a fresh new custom connector for yourself. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, let me show you the endpoint API that we are going to use in order to build for the this particular custom connector. Okay, so there is a free API available called paid version, but they are providing free sign up as well, currency layer. So currencylayer.com is a provider who is providing the global exchange rate across the world. So you will get the currency exchange rate live every day what is the latest exchange rate going in the market for US dollar to INR conversion or pound conversion or euro conversion. They are providing that. Okay, if you just want to try it out, you can have the sign up option over here. You can just simply use the sign up for free and just grab this information. Okay, in sign up for free, probably you just need to enter your credit card and those information they are asking for. So maybe just fill out the basic information and just sign up for yourself. Okay, here I'm not signing up at this point because I already do have activated that thing, but you can just do that activity offline for yourself. And when you open that out, they will provide this API endpoint for you to test. So you can see this API endpoint that okay, API layer.net slash API slash live, and they are having access key as well, which will provide it for your individual account. And you know which currency you want to convert in, it just provide you that information over here. Okay, and if you just run this out over here, basically it will perform the run, and over here it will show you the API usage as well. So far in this month I already used 14 times, so it's just showing me that information as well over here. Okay, 100 free call you are getting with the free version. Okay, so but our main goal is to use the custom connector inside the Copilot Studio. Okay, so now what we'll do, simply click on run, and basically this will just giving me this kind of output. And you can see in the URL itself you have access key and you have currencies and everything. Okay, now again, like whenever this is what I'm telling multiple times, to create a custom connector is not just only the individual's effort. Every time multiple teams are involved in order to build the custom connector. As a Copilot Studio or as a Power Platform developer, your goal is you need to understand how to call those custom connector within your system. Okay, so now let's get started by creating our first custom connector over here from scratch, which we wanted to create with. So this is API. This is just a background that this is the API endpoint we wanted to build up. Okay, so now what I'm doing, I'm simply going to my Copilot Studio agent. I'm just going here and let's click on action. Let's click on add an action. And when you click on new action, yesterday we have seen the different available options available. Okay, in that there is an option available that new custom connector. Let's click on that. As soon as you click on that, basically it will redirecting you to your Power Apps portal. So ultimately it's the same thing. Okay, whichever thing you build for your Power Apps and Power Automate, you can directly consume it out. Okay, here I already built one of the custom connector earlier, so it was showing me. Okay, in case if it is not showing to you, you can I mean of course you haven't started this yet, so you will build your own custom connector from scratch over here. Okay, so let's get started by creating our custom connector. So first of all, what I'm doing here is I'm clicking here on the top right corner called new custom connector, and we will start from the blank. Let's click on that and let's provide the name of the custom connector. So I'm providing the name as get currency exchange rate and click on continue. Now, first of all, icon and description, if you want to provide anything, you can just provide it over here. Otherwise, from here, first of all, you need to provide your API endpoints. So you just need to select here like whether your endpoint is HTTPS or whether it's HTTP, and you just need to provide the host over here. So let's look at our endpoint over here. So how my endpoint looks like? It looks like this: HTTP API layer.net slash API slash live, right? So my host will be this one, API layer.net. Okay, so again, like what is host? Again, it's an API terminology. Okay, so API again, like whenever you have any URL or endpoint being provided with after HTTP or HTTPS, the first statement that you are able to see most of the time, that is your host. Okay, so now again, my API is HTTP and this is my host. I'm just copying my host information and I'm just providing that, okay, my schema is HTTP. In most of the real world project, we are having HTTP as most of the time. We never have like HTTP because most of the organization are having the HTTP as one. But here just for testing purpose, we are using HTTP one. Okay. Now here, let's provide the host name over here, API layer.net. This is what you need to provide as your host. This is your host, API layer.net. Okay. And after that, let's click on next step. I'm just going to the security step now. And in security step, there are different authentication types are available. So again, this is a part of your custom connector. So you always need to connect to your customers or maybe whichever third party API you are using it. Basically, those API providers are providing you the options that, okay, what kind of authentication you can use it for yourself. Whether you can use the basic authentication or OAuth 2 authentication or API key authentication, what kind of authentication is required. It is always been provided by your custom connector provider. Okay. In this case, we will use the API key authentication because if you look at our API endpoint over here, they are providing you the API access key. So they are doing it via key. So we just need to provide the key authentication over here. So I will use API key authentication. Okay. And now we need to supply two parameters over here, parameter label and parameter name, and where you will supply your parameter. Okay. So again, like if you don't know that information, always ask to your provider that, okay, API key you providing me here, so do I need to pass it into header or do I need to pass it into query string? Okay. Or maybe when when we try to run it, it just opened in this new window and we can see access key is passed over here in this fashion in the URL. So we know that it is like a query string access key parameter, but depending on your API, your endpoint, you can choose the appropriate authentication method for yourself. Okay. Now what I'm doing right now is simply, I know this is the access key. This is the name of the parameter. You need to provide the exact same parameter name over here, access underscore key. Okay. So let's copy this parameter name over here and let's apply it over here. Like label and name, I just wanted to keep it same. So I'm just providing access key over here. Okay. Now at this point, make sure you create a custom connector. Okay. So whichever thing we have done so far, I just wanted to make sure that it is saved properly. Okay. I'm just clicking on create connector at this point, and this will create my custom connector. Let's see. Let it to be saved. Okay. And you can see custom connector has been saved successfully. Okay. Now let's go to the third step, which is my definition step. In definition step, we need to provide which action we want to configure. So basically right now we want to get the currency exchange rate, right? So let's click on new action over here in order to create a fresh action. When you click on new action, the very first thing is you need to provide the name of your action, what that action do for you, and operation ID, which is any unique ID you can provide it over here. So here I'm just providing the rate here is get currency rate, get C rate. Okay, maybe I'm just providing this kind of name, or maybe I can just make it bigger, get currency rate, currency rate. Okay, and I can provide the same operation ID as well over here. Okay, and let's provide a description. This action will provide you live exchange rate worldwide. Okay, you just need to provide this kind of description a little bit. Okay, now here in the request section, you need to provide your endpoint. Okay, so to provide the endpoint, simply click on import from sample and let's just provide the endpoint. So the first is you need to select the verb, which means that what kind of request you are trying to make it. You want to make a get request or post, put, delete, which method you want to make it. Again, this information is also being provided to you by your custom connector provider. So here what I'm using is simply I'm going to use this endpoint API layer.net/live. Okay, so let's provide that endpoint over here, and let's provide over here like, okay, I'm using get method. Okay, here I don't need to supply any header information and all because my API is not using any header or anything over there. Okay, so I am just passing that, just providing the endpoint, and let's add that. Okay, so let me just get, provide it, and click on import. Okay, and as soon as you import it, this is how it will show you as a request message. Okay, so this is how your request looks like. Okay, now with request you need to provide the sample response as well if you have. Okay, so again, like when we call this particular API endpoint by clicking on run option, okay, it just giving me this kind of sample result, which is giving me all the exchange rate. Okay, and even if I'm searching here the currency INR, you can see the rate at this point US dollar to INR is 86 rupees, which is absolutely fine. Or maybe let's say if I want to know the pound rate, okay, so you can see this is like pound. 1 US dollar, I mean US dollar to pound is 0.82 at this point. Okay, euro is 0.96. Okay, you will get all the currency rates over here. Okay, most of all the countries rates are supporting over here. Okay, so this is what you are getting as an output. So what you can do simply, like, you can copy this entire output, okay, and provide as a response over here that, okay, probably you will get that kind of response. So add a default response, and probably here you can just paste that whole JSON response and make it import. So at least you will have that response passed over here in your definition section. Okay, let's just wait for that to be finished. So we just provided the response, and see, this is how the response looks like. Okay, so I'm good with that as well. Let's go back. Request and response is your third step. Okay, now at this point as well, let's update our connector to make sure that we are saving the things properly. Okay, so let's update it. We'll take few minutes, few seconds to update this out. Okay, so my custom connector updated successfully. Fourth step is all about AI plugin. So here we don't need to perform any action over here. Basically, this is like in preview at this point, and few around a year ago they rolled out this particular feature, but we don't want to create any kind of plugin at this point over here. We are just fine with our normal connector, and code is also something which you need to completely ignore. It is for those people who want to build a custom connector via C# or any other programming, so they can probably use this particular step. But here again, I want to create the connector with the low code, so I'm not using the code part as well. And now the last part is testing, where we just need to perform the testing. So for to do the testing, the very first thing you need to do is you need to create a connection here. So what I'm doing, I'm just clicking on new connection. So when you click on new connection, basically it will ask you for the access key. So let's just provide the access key. So in the API documentation, I'm getting this access key already. Let's copy this access key and supply it over here and click on create to create the rates. Okay, so it just created that key. Okay, and once you provide that, you are just redirected to the connection page. Okay, so again you need to go to your custom connector page, and for that again go to more, click on discover all, and over here you will be finding the option for custom connector. So let's click on that. And now this is what we just created, currency exchange rate. Okay, click on edit, and now let's perform the testing around that. Okay, so I'm just going to test this result, and what I'm doing right now is just clicking on the test operation over here. Okay, and as soon as I perform the test, probably I will get the result over here. Okay, so it is giving me the success as false, missing access key. It is just showing me that particular thing. Okay, why it is saying me access key is missing? Let's have a quick look. Test operation again. Okay, missing access key. You are not supplied an access key. Required format access key is equal to your access key. It is showing me this kind of thing. Maybe what I need to do here quickly is, let's go to the definition tab, and maybe let's try to change this request a little bit over here. So I'm just going here. Okay, and access key query headers body like this. It looks good. Maybe what can I do? I can just start adding one more time connection. Access key, let me supply it. Okay, let's go again to the connector. And let's click on edit. Let's go here in test. I'll just use this one and let's try to test it one more time. Again, it is showing me missing key. So let's change the definition a little bit. I'm just changing this out. Go to the definition, get currency rate. And when we are having this import from sample, this is what maybe we can change it. Get request. And let's try to change this, or maybe again, this is what I did as a mistake, guys. Okay, we know that when we have the API key provided over here, right? Parameter location, I provided incorrect one. Okay, let's click on here and let's try to make it query, because this is like in a query string parameter. I have my access key, which I haven't changed it. Okay, apart from that, everything was right. Okay, let's update the connector now, because it was coming as a URL query string and I just pass as a header. So this custom connector just think that, okay, you haven't supplied your access key over there, then probably you will not get a result over there. Okay, so now let's try to test it now. I'm just going here and perform the test operation. And let's see what happens. This time it is giving me success, and see, this is what it is giving me as a result as well. All the currency exchange rate I'm getting over here. So this is the quick way to test your custom connector as well. Okay, so we tested and our first part of creating custom connector is done. Okay, so at least custom connector, most of the time Power Platform people, they are frequently using at their Power Apps in Power Automate, and same we can use into Copilot Studio as well. Okay, now the thing is that how we can configure that particular connector inside the Copilot Studio. Let's have a look. So now let's open our agent, and now here what we need to do, go to the action. Okay, again click on add action, because last time when we created the action, at that time we were redirected to the custom connector page when you are searching for new custom connector, right? But once you are done by creating your custom connector, the easiest way to search for it is simply go here and add the custom connector action over here. Okay, now what you need to do, simply search for your connector, get the currency rate, right? That is what my custom connector name was there, right? And you can see right now when I'm start typing, it will start showing me my custom connector which I've just been created. Okay, so it is showing me two custom connector, one which I had already created with, and another one is the one which I latestly created. Okay, so all the custom connector will be available underneath custom connector section. But remember one thing, you at least need to use search box in order to search your custom connector. By default, if you are adding here, it will not show you straightforward because this UI is still like not that great that it will show you by default when you click on custom connectors. Okay, so you always need to search here and then you will find that custom connector. So recent custom connector that we have, I can see here completely. Let's click on that to add inside our uh, agent. So as soon as you add that, it will show you this kind of pop-up option. Let's have a look. So the very first thing is that it will show you the connection. So let it to be loaded. Okay, and here you will be able to see the action as well inside that. Okay, so basically this is your connector name and these are the actions you have defined inside that you are able to see here. Okay, simply clicking on next after that, and basically here you just need to provide the name for your currency exchange rate. Right now I'm not changing it anything, I'm just keeping it as is. After that, once we add that, we will update it. Okay, and authentication, again we will use Copilot author authentication because I don't want users to perform the authentication, so I'm just using Copilot author authentication. Okay, input and output is definitely input we don't need to provide. I need all the exchange rate, so around 174 parameters it is returning me. But if you want to specify, yesterday we learned as well, we can show and hide the parameter depending on our need. Okay, input output, that's it. And let's click on add action first. Let's add the custom connector inside the agent itself. Okay, so let it to be added. Let's wait for a moment to add this out. Okay, it's been added. And now what next step we want to perform here is, let's open the action that we just added over here. Let's click on that. And let's just provide a little bit proper name over here for our action so it can detect properly. Okay, so first of all, let's just rename the action a little bit. So I'm just renaming my action as get currency exchange rate. Display name, I just wanted to provide proper name, get currency exchange rate. And maybe what this action will do, maybe we just need to provide here like get currency rate. Okay, and let's just save this agent a little bit. Okay, input and output you can always check. Let's say you don't need all the parameters from your custom connector as a result, maybe you can turn it off as well, or maybe you can delete those as well. But right now I just looking for every parameter, so I'm just clicking on save at this point. Okay, so I'm just doing this and looks perfect to me. Okay, so far we added knowledge and one action over here. Okay, now what next step we want to perform over here? Like, let's taste up to this point whether I'm able to get the currency exchange rate from my um, action or not. Okay, so maybe what we will do is we'll start providing some sort of action or some sort of instruction to my agent. So we know that always in the overview section, we are having an option to provide the instruction so that it can able to find out that stuff for me. Okay, but before that, let's just test out generally over here. Okay, like I'm just asking the same question here. Okay, please provide me the price quotation for the below products and convert the currency rate to INR. Maybe let's see whether it is able to understand this or not. Okay. See, so we just provided this, but still see it is not able to understand that because we haven't provided any kind of instruction so far to our agent. So it just understand this particular part and see slowly just triggered, taking some time. Okay, and see this is what it is getting. The price for this is 424.55 US dollar, and this is this one using the currency rate of 1 US dollar equals to 86.69 INR. The prices of INR as follows, right? This is great result, don't you think? Because we didn't did any kind of conversation or we didn't perform anything, and generative AI just generate this answer perfectly for me from the custom connector, and it is showing the referencing as well. And you can see car part 20, which is 36,792 Indian rupees. Again, it is great that see it added the rupee symbol as well by its own. Similar way, if I'm asking like any other currency conversion, it can understand that as well. Okay, so it will just providing me this kind of response over here. Maybe let me just change my prompt a little bit over here. What I'm writing here is, please provide me the quotation for the below products and convert the currency rate to euro. Okay, let's see whether it will be able to. This is again I'm making as a trial itself. So let's see how it is interpreting this particular thing for me. Okay, so it just go to the knowledge source. First, it will find the pricing from those inventories and see this is what it is converting. 1 USD equals to this many of euro, and it just converted like okay, I'm not sure euro sign is proper or not, but this is what it is showing as a conversion to you into euro. Okay, so now at least I'm getting this results, so I'm happy with that at least so far. Okay, now next challenge is we need to send this complete information in the form of emails to the user. Okay, so let's perform that. So first always start in this way, slow, a small part, perform testing, write the prompt, and at last start to try to add a trigger. Okay, don't add trigger from the beginning itself to avoid lots of burden on yourself. Okay, so we just tested up to this point, we are good and we are getting this rates. Okay, now we want to send this information via email to the users. Okay, so I will add one more action over here. I'm just going to the overview section over here, and I'll add one more action, send an email. So let's search for, again, this is what we have used multiple times, send an email. So these all are the plugin actions out of the box. So we will just use Outlook action. Let's use, and let's make the connection over here. Okay, let's click on next. And I will just use a name as normal. Well, send an email. I'll just not use any fancy jargon or anything over there. So let's just make it very simplistic over here. And this operation sends an email message. Authentication, again, I will use Copilot author authentication. Simple. Input and output, I don't want to set any input and output at this point because to subject and body which will coming from the previous conversation which has provided as a result, and from that it should generate this automatically. Okay, so I don't want any such information to be changed over here. I need this completely dynamically. Okay, and I'm just providing the proper description over here only, that this operation send an email message for the price people requested for. Okay, so it just know the context around it. Okay, and we are just providing this, and let's add an action. So we just adding the send an email action. Let's wait for this to be added. Okay, and here we are. It just added that, and maybe let's click on that, and let's rename this action name as well. Send an email. Perfect. Looks good. Okay, so at least so far I'm good with this particular input. Now, the main challenge will come up into picture where we need to introduce our trigger. Okay, so far two actions are added, one knowledge base is added. Okay, and now we need to introduce a trigger because ultimately people are not going to use this chatbot. They are sending the queries via email, and we need to understand from email and need to perform this entire conversation and everything and need to send back to the user. Okay, that's what our end goal is to achieve. So what we'll do, we'll again add a trigger. What's trigger? We started learning that yesterday itself. Let's click on add trigger, and let's click on when a new email arrives trigger. Okay, and here first of all we need to sign in, and we need to check that okay, what kind of information you want to achieve over here. So maybe I'm just changing the trigger over here that when new email arrives, let's click on next, that okay, to which email you want, mailbox you want to configure. I just want to configure this mailbox, Dhruvin mailbox. Okay, and I just want to achieve here like what should be your subject when any new emails coming up. So maybe I'll just add here like request for a price, something like that. Request for a price. When someone is requesting for a price or quotation, maybe I just want this at this point. Okay, and use content from the body, which is absolutely fine, and let's click on create trigger. It is adding a trigger over here for ourselves. Okay, so it's just doing this activity, let it to be finished. Okay, and now let's try to test this out. So when new email arrives, use the trigger body. Okay, and when you look at this as well, it is showing the edit in the Power Automate. Okay, so again behind the scene it's nothing but ultimately a Power Automate flow which is being triggered behind the scene whenever a new email receives over there, and basically this is will send this body prompt from your email body, and it will use for the further analysis via Copilot agent. Okay, so we added the trigger, we added the action. Okay, everything is done up to so far. Now the biggest thing come up into mind that okay, now we need to at least provide the instruction to our agent that okay, what exactly it need to perform as a task. The task is when email arrives, grab this information, convert exchange rate and this one. So now we need to provide an instructions over here. Okay, so let's provide instructions. Click on edit and go to the instruction tab, and let's start adding the instruction one by one over here for ourselves. Okay, so the very first instruction I'm just adding here, I'm just providing some sort of context here first, that what is your purpose. Okay, so again this instructions I have already provided in the Word file. I'm copying here as well, and I'm explaining to you as well. So I'm just added an instruction that okay, you are created to help to suppliers for helping them with the price quotation. They are sending the request of quotation via email. Mostly they are having multiple products with their product number or product name. Make sure that you will not miss any product from the email, and you should follow the steps below without missing any. Once all the actions are completed, your work is finished. When you receive a new email with the subject line request for a price, perform the following task without asking for the user information. Okay, we just provided this instruction. Now let's enter one by one task that what it need to perform. So number one, the first task it need to perform is parse the body of the email to identify all the product codes and product name they are asking for a quote. Okay, so I'm just adding this instruction over here. That very first thing that we need to consider here is parse the body of the email to identify all the product codes and name what they are ask for a quote. Okay, first instruction is that one. Let's add the second instruction now. Second instruction is like once we get that information, they need to use their internal knowledge base. Okay, so I'm just adding second instruction that number two is use the internal knowledge base to find out the price details. From internal knowledge base, get the product name, ID, price, and status. You will get everything. So I'm specifying the name that in email what kind of output I'm looking for. I need product name, product ID, price, status, everything. Okay, so at least grab all the information, okay, from the internal knowledge base. Number three, I want to achieve is use the get currency exchange rate. So I will use now, okay, once you get that, you need to perform the currency exchange rate. Okay, so use action get currency exchange rate to find out currency rate in Indian rupees. I'm providing this instruction. Number four, I want to provide it converted this. Okay, and then I will tell them that okay, use the INR rate and convert USD rate in INR. That is fourth instruction because it just get the global conversion rate. Then again for the product that they are looking for, we need to convert that into appropriate Indian rate as well. Okay. And number five, after that I do this, I will provide an instruction, write an email with proper structure with product ID, product name, price in US dollar by default, which is coming from the Excel, then converted rate as well, price in INR, because I want to club this result together. Okay, price in INR and stock status, stock status, whether it's available or not available, that status. Okay, um, then I will just add some more instruction that okay, use proper HTML table structure to send an email. Okay, then I can just provide some more instruction. Please also suggest they can call to our customer care, or I'm just adding one common line that we have used earlier as well at multiple places, like this way. Just a minute. Something like this. Please also suggest they can call to our customer care department on this, or usually use this one. Okay, so you can just add this little bit instruction over here. Okay, so this is like your final instructions. Okay, let's click on save up to this point. And now it's time to test this instruction. Okay, so instructions are nothing but you just need to add one by one step in a way that what you want to execute in just a natural language, nothing like any advanced thing. So think about it like what you will do once you get this information as a human. If you need to perform this manually, you just need to provide that information to your agent that you need to treat this request in this particular fashion and need to execute these 5 steps over here. Okay, and you can see these are the 5 steps you have at this point. All right, now let's go here and let's quickly do a quick testing around that. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm start drafting one email for myself first. So let me open up my mailbox quickly. So I'm just opening my Gmail and I'm just composing one more email. Okay, this is what I need to send to that mailbox. Okay, and let's provide a subject, a request for a price or something like that, because that's what we configured in our trigger itself, right? Request for a price. And I can start drafting some content around that is hello. Please provide me price quotation for below products. Maybe I'm just providing like this way. I'm adding multiple products, okay? 20, 21, 22, 23, 40, 41, 42 randomly, okay? All right, I'm just adding this thing and sending an email. Let's see how it will react. I'm just going here and let's wait for this trigger to be happen. Let's click on test trigger and maybe let me just quickly open up my mailbox as well so that I can check out. Okay, so request for a price just come up as an email. So maybe it should trigger now. Okay, it triggered. Okay, let's start testing here. So I'm clicking on start testing and let's see what will happen. Okay, so see, it started looking at the knowledge sources. See, looking at the knowledge source. Then it get the currency exchange rate. Okay, let's see. Then it send an email. And now let's see what kind of email it sent to the user. Okay, so I'm looking at my response over here. I just received the email. You can see even subject was automatically generated, right? Let's see. And here I am. See, without any human interaction, and this time my proof of concept also works smoothly, work fine. So finger crossed. And see, this is exactly what I get. I requested these parts over here, 2021 all, and these all product names I'm getting. Okay, this is the price in the US dollar, and what would be the converted price into INR, and whether it's in stock or out stock. And this is exactly instruction which I provided, and perfect table structure it sent to us in the email via just generative AI, right? Now just imagine how much use cases you can achieve it over here. Like just imagine like this is like a frequent requirement for many organizations that people who are specifically working in the public domain, right? They are just sending the inquiry like, okay, latest price quotation send me or this send me, right? And there are dedicated people who are working to do that activity most of the time, that they are looking their information, they're drafting an email and sending them out, right? Rather than you just implement this kind of agent and it can maintain this entire thing for you automatically. That's the power of autonomous agent you are getting with it. Okay, and right now we just did a test. Remember one thing, that okay, once you are done with your agent building, okay, whenever you want that you are ready with this, don't forget to publish this out. So far whichever testing we are doing without publishing it, because I haven't published it yet. So that's the reason why we need to manually trigger this out from here, like test trigger, and we had start doing the testing from here. When you publish it, after that whenever emails receive, it perform all this activity automatically behind the scene, and you will be able to find that activity over here inside your activity section, that okay, how many things you have performed so far. Okay, so that's what the first use case I wanted to cover up for today. I'm happy to take any question at this point. Like if you have any question on um, any process that we have done for this autonomous agent, specifically the custom connector part and all, I'm happy to answer your question, and otherwise we can move forward to the second complex use case and go from there. So the stage is open for Q&A. If anyone has any question, please feel free to bring it up. Or maybe at least just give me some reactions that at least so far everyone is following along with me. Okay, great. Okay, so far we did with the knowledge base. Okay, now let's talk about one more level up from here. That okay, knowledge base is fine, send an email is fine, custom connector is a fine, but now let's I want to do some approval as well on top of that. Okay, not I'm talking about approval action of Power Automate. Okay, but what I want is which is about my second use case. So first of all, let me go through the use case over here, and then we will come to the conclusion of building the things. Okay, so second use case I want to build up here is automatic PO creation inside the system. Okay, now just imagine right now why I'm creating multiple agents, guys, because I want to explain you each concept one by one after another. But let's say in the same agent that we just built, you have a requirement that okay, they requested a price for quotation, and after that maybe you want to make an entry as well inside your database that okay, this person has requested this quoting, or maybe you want to store that summary somewhere into your SharePoint Dataverse. That is also something you need to do. It's just a matter that you need to increase this instruction length. So after that you need to add number 6 that okay, store this information using whichever plugin you have configured over there, that okay, create item in SharePoint action and blah blah blah. You can just provide more and more instruction over here in order to increase your agent's task. Okay, but now at this point we are creating a separate agent over here where we are going to create the PO inside the SharePoint list. Okay. Again, one interesting thing here I wanted to talk about is what make this use case, second use case special is we are going to understand one more concept of dynamic chaining. Now, what is dynamic chaining? Okay. So let's say for an example, sometimes there are scenarios where your customer is saying you that okay, create two purchase order into the system, and they will just provide you the information of two purchase order, like their supplier name, their quantity they are requesting, and the unit price, and you just need to enter that data into your SharePoint list. Okay, so what happened here is generally with the traditional way with Power Automate and all, if you are doing multiple items, okay, you basically use loop and those concept inside the Power Automate. But here this AI agent is enough capable to understand your instruction, and it automatically perform the chaining for you that okay, you are sending two PO, so it create that it automatically call that action two times by just reading the natural language and perform that activity. Okay, we will see it practically so you will get a better idea what I'm talking about around dynamic chaining. So main goal is to understand the dynamic chaining for the auto creation process. Okay, so how many things we want to achieve here? Number one, as soon as user enters some PO information in the agent, you want to grab that information and need to create that record into SharePoint. Second thing, once that record is created, okay, you want to perform some calculation as well that okay, PO amount is equal to unit price multiplied by quantity. So, and let's say if that amount is greater than 10,000, then it should go for an approval to the manager. Okay, if it not, if it is less than 10,000, then status will be by default auto approve. Okay, and with this status, you want to send this result to the supplier as well, that okay, what would be the final summary of your purchase order, that whether it's created or not, or what's the status of your purchase order. Along with that, you need to also convert the currency conversion. So same character that we have used, we will use here as well. So many things involved: item creation process, second is currency conversion process, third thing is approval process, fourth thing is sending an email. Multiple actions we are trying to implement over here. So this agent now will require more and more instruction over here in order to perform this overall activity. Okay, let's get start by creating this agent now from scratch. Again, this is a big agent we are creating with respect to length, okay, and the number of steps involved into this particular agent steps. So let's get started. So what I'm doing, let's go to the solution. Let's create a second agent. I'm just closing this first agent that we just built upon. Okay, and I'm just opening my second agent over here. Solution, click on new agent, agent. And I'm now providing my agent name over here. I'm simply clicking on skip to configure. I'm just providing name as PO creation, PO creation agent, and maybe 1.0. I just want to provide like this way. Click on create. I'm not providing any description or instruction at this point. Let me first set it up my complete agent and then I'll just provide those instructions. Okay. So what are the steps involved into that? First step is I need to create a PO inside my database. Okay, that's first action. Second action, convert the currency exchange rate. Third thing, approval. And fourth thing, send an email. Okay, so think that in your mind and start adding the actions one by one. Okay, and trigger we will add at the very end. Okay. So we just have that. And the very first step is again, it's an autonomous agent. So we always need to turn on our orchestration. So let's turn on the orchestration to generative AI. I'm just turning that on and my orchestration is on. Let's go to add action and let's add our first action. So where I want to store my data, first of all, let me show you that thing over here. So I'm just closing everything and let me just provide the information over here that where my data is storing. So I just created one SharePoint list over here, Copilot. Let me just quickly open up my SharePoint. SharePoint. You can store anywhere, guys. Okay, data or SharePoint wherever you want. Okay, I'm just using my site which I've created earlier, Copilot Studio use cases. And I just created one SharePoint list called purchase order. Okay, so far I have a couple of records created. I'm just deleting everything over here. Okay, and here I do have four columns mainly. Title, where I want to store like who requested the purchase order. Supplier means which supplier for which this PO should go. Quantity and unit price. Okay, only four columns I want to store it. You can store multiple if you want. It's totally up to you. Okay, and now let's get start performing this activity. So what I'm doing, PO creation agent, and let's search for SharePoint action first. SharePoint. So far we used Dataverse action many times. So this time I thought to use SharePoint one. So first of all in SharePoint, let's use create item action. So create item, let's select this. Okay, let's click on next. And the very first step we need to perform here is let's provide the name. So I'm just providing the name here is like create PO. Okay, what this action is doing for you. So I'm just writing create a new PO in SharePoint list. Okay. And authentication, I still want to use Copilot author authentication. Input and output parameter, let's configure it. So site address and list name. Okay, let's add the action first. My always preference is that and then configure the parameters. So create item, perfect. And let's add an action first. So I have added this action right away. SharePoint create item. Okay, let's open this up. And here we are. Let's rename the action name again. Create PO action. Perfect. And now let's go to the input and output parameter. So I'm just going to input. And first of all, site address, we want to set it manually. So set as a value, and let's provide the site over here. So I'm selecting Copilot use cases. If it is not appearing, you can copy and paste the URL the way you want. I mean, just copy the address and paste it. It will also work. And list name also, I just need as set as a value. Click on confirm. And again, sometimes it is showing the suggestion, sometimes it's not. So don't get yourself confused. If it's not showing, don't worry. You can just provide the copy paste the name as it is. So it is showing me the suggestion. So I'm selecting purchase order over here. Perfect. This is exactly what I was looking for. Okay. So two site address and list name we provided. Let's save up to this point. Now we need to also supply couple of parameters there, like this parameters: title, supplier, quantity, and unit price, right? So how to do that? Let's go here, and same like Dataverse action, go to input, and there is an option on the top, add. Okay. And when you click on add, there is an option for each parameter, like title. Let's say for an example, search for it, title. Okay, so add that. So you can see title is added. Now you need to provide that, okay, what will be the description for that and all. Okay, but let me add all the parameter one by one here first. So first I've added like a title, then I'm adding some another one like specifically supplier, supplier. Okay, so it's added. Next I want to add here is quantity. Search here for quantity. And at last I want to add as a unit price. Okay, all the columns I have added because this is the value where I want to supply it. But again, I want to keep this value from the generative AI. So I will again use like it will dynamically coming from the source. But again, here I will change a title little bit, display name and some sort of description. So again, like here, I just want this agent to be triggered from the chatbot. Okay, so I'm just writing here like, okay, current login user, that is what I want to store in my title, that who requested. Then in supplier, I just want to provide like a supplier name, some sort of proper naming convention, and description as supplier name. Quantity, let's just provide like, okay, ordered quantity, description ordered quantity, and unit price, let's just supply like, okay, price like this way. Okay, so I'm just changing this out and save it out. So all the inputs are created perfectly. Okay, so at least first part is done. Okay, now what I want to perform is, let's taste up to this point first, that okay, whether I'm able to create the PO or not. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm just writing an instruction over here in the chat window. So let's go to the overview tab, and first action is done. First, let's see if we are able to create the PO in the system or not. Okay, so let's add some prompt. I'm just writing that I want to create a PO with following information. Then I'm just entering like supplier would be like Flamingo Enterprise. Uh, Quantity, I want to have like 25, and price, I want like 600. Okay, something like this I want to have it. Let's copy this out and let's paste it and see how it reacts. Okay, and let's see at least the PO is created or not. Okay, let's see, and see create PO executed, and it is saying me that okay, what is the title for the current logged in user. Okay, it is asking me that. Rest of the information it just captured, but see, title is still not coming as a proper one, right? So maybe I'll just write here like through it at this point, and let's try to store this out. And see if it is creating a PO or not. Okay. And meantime, I'm simply opening the SharePoint as well, and see, at least it created the PO perfectly over here for myself. Okay. So looks good. Now still I need to enhance it because it was asking me the person's name. Okay. So what can I do? I can just go here in input. Okay. And in title, I can just provide here, maybe not from any entity, but you need to add current logged in users information as title. Okay. Let's save it out and let's see after changing this, it's working or not. Okay. I'm adding this same prompt again. This time it didn't prompt me. It just keep the information automatically, and let's see whether the second record is created or not. It just created, right? So just need to change an instruction little bit, and we did it and it works perfectly. Okay. Now let's reset this out. So my first action is working fine. Okay. So up to this point, I'm good. Now second point, I want to create the another one, which is converting this currency exchange rate and start the approval process for myself. Okay, so other two we need to perform over here. So let's add the currency conversion one because custom connector we already created so far, right? So it's just a matter that we need to call that custom connector and need to get the rate into that appropriate currency one. Okay, so let's go to the actions and let's add action, and this time again we will go connector and maybe let's search for see get currency rate, get currency rate. Yeah, this is what I'm getting, right? Let's add that because you don't need to create custom connector second time, you already created, so you can directly consume it over here as well. Okay, let's click on next and let's change this configuration a little bit. Get get currency rate, and I'm just providing the same description, get currency rate. Okay, and simply let's use authentication as Copilot. You author authentication, input and output, I don't want to change anything. Let's add an action. Second action is also done. Okay, maybe let's rename this a little bit because I just want this to be consistent. Get currency rate, save it. Okay, up to this point, good. Now, we also need to do the approval process. So let's say whenever I'm saying this thing, like, okay, create a PO for Flamingo, and I'm just sending the instruction over there, like what's the price and what's the quantity. So, let's say if I'm adding like this, supplier Nila Telefilms, quantity 25, price 500. So what would be the actual costing if you look at this? 500 into 25, which is approximately 50,000, right? Um, so what we need to, I think 5,000. Okay, so what we want to implement as a next logic over here is, let's say for an example, if my overall price for the PO, purchase order, quantity multiplied by price, if it is greater than 10,000, then I want to send the notification for the higher approval. And for the other PO, let's say if the pricing is less than that, then I want to send an email notification. I mean, just wanted to change the status automatically as auto approved. Okay, that's what I want to implement here. Okay, for that, what I'll do, I'll create some sort of Power Automate flow over there for myself. Okay, that I need to perform this kind of approval process. Then what are the steps I can perform over here? Okay, so this is what can I at least do over here. All right, so what can I do is simply I can create a Power Automate for that kind of approval emails which I wanted to send to the users. Okay, so for that, again, one more concept we are learning here, to adding the Power Automate as a part of the agent. Okay, so let's add an agent, and over here click on new action, and there is an option available, new Power Automate flow. Click on that. As soon as you do that, it will redirecting you to the new user interface of Power Automate. Okay, now over here it will always show you your first action as this one, run a flow from a copilot, and last action is you need to respond it back to your copilot agent. Okay, now over here what we will do is simply add some input parameter first, that okay, I want the first input parameter as what would be the price amount. Okay, price amount, that's something I really want. And second parameter I want to have here is, this is like again like a number data type. Let me just delete this out and let me make it like a number. Number, and let me just make it the value as PO amount. Okay, what would be the PO amount? Okay, the people will have that from the agent's interface. And second parameter I need as a summary, like what kind of summary I want to send in the approval email. Okay, so I'm just having two parameters at this point over here, and then I will add a condition here, that okay, if my condition, okay, if my PO amount is greater than or equal to 10,000, then what I want to perform, I want to send an email to specified person. That logic you can build completely in the Power Automate. Now, Power Automate you can simply use here. So maybe I'm just using an action. I'm sending it to Dhruvin, and I'll make the subject as PO approval. Subject will be PO approval required. And then I will just provide here like, okay, what would be the amount of the PO? Okay, that's pretty much it. And in body, I will just provide some sort of hello, please check below summary for the purchase order. and approve ASAP. Okay, and I'll supply the summary. So I'll just convert into HTML, and at the end, I'll just provide that summary that we have entered from our as a parameter from the agent. Okay, and I want that, okay, by default, let me maintain one more variable over here, initialize variable, and let me provide the variable name as variable status and making it string. And over here, I will just set the value of the status, set variable, and providing that status as approved, sorry, pending, because it is going for a pending mode. And same way on the other hand, if it is going into other condition, set variable, I want to make it as a auto approved because its value is less than 10,000, auto approved. Okay. And finally, we need to respond this variable to the agent. So what is the final result I want to return to the agent as a status is that variable, which is we have defined over there. So let's click on here and that status, let's apply it and let's provide the indication, some instruction that, okay, give the status if PO is auto approved or pending mode. We just provide this kind of description. Okay, so one parameter we are returning over here. So now this is one thing. Now if you know Power Automate, you can have endless capability from here as well. You can perform multiple operations over here the way you want to have it. Okay, so we connected Power Automate over here, and let's rename this Power Automate as well a little bit. Run a flow from Copilot. Instead of that, let's make it like a approval flow, like this, save as a draft, and let's publish it out. Now, as soon as your flow creation done, you need to go again and refresh it out. Okay. Now here you need to search for your created flow. So again, what you can do, go to the flow section over here like this way, and you can see by default, you are able to see 4 different actions available for yourself over here. Okay, like approval flow, run a flow from Copilot, blah blah blah. Okay, so what's the name of our flow? Approval flow is something which we have created. Okay, and let's click on that, and this is what you are getting: approval flow, input and output. Okay, let's add an action. Okay, so see, approval flow is added. Let's click on that. Okay, here now we need to configure couple of parameters for ourselves. Okay, so let's just provide some sort of more information. Approval for purchase order, display name as well, approval for purchase order, and description, approval flow. That's fine. Let's go to the input parameter. So PO amount is something which is dynamically coming, that is correct, and maybe we can just provide some sort of description over here, like what would be the PO amount. So this will be unit price multiply by quantity ordered. Okay, this kind of information you need to provide. So maybe from previous input, it will just get the quantity and multiply by its how many, what is the unit price for that. So it just do that calculation. So I'm just providing this as an instruction here in the description. Same way, summary, I'll just provide here like, okay, summary of PO created. I just provide that information over here as well. Summary of PO created. Okay, let's save this. So my approval one is also done. Okay, so far how many actions? Three. Creating PO, exchange rate, and this one. Okay, and now one last is pending, which is we need to send an email notification to the user. Okay, so let's add that as well at the very end. Okay, send an email and then we will test it out. Send an email. Office 365 Outlook. Click on next. And let's provide here like, okay, send an email, and this operation will send an email. Authentication is Copilot author authentication. Perfect. Everything is dynamic, which I want. Okay. And let's click on add action. Perfect. So it's done. All right. Now, once our actions are created, we need to start providing some sort of instruction that in which sequence these all the actions should be executed, right? So we need to draft now the instruction story to our main agent. So what we'll do, let's go to the overview section and let's go here in the details section and let's click on edit. Now let's provide some sort of instructions over here in order to execute. So first of all, I'm adding some sort of description here that you are helping us to create a purchase order based on the information supplied. So it will help us to create PO basically. I'm just providing a short description here. Now let's start giving the instructions to it. So let's just provide some sort of context first. So I'm just adding this context. Your task is to create a purchase order in the system. Users can send you multiple purchase order requests. Make sure you do not miss any purchase order. You need to follow below task in sequence. Okay, now let's add one by one sequence. Number one. Number one instruction I wanted to provide here is that that person need to read the message which they have received. So right now I'm just thinking that, okay, in this agent, I don't want to configure any trigger. They'll just enter here and agent should be able to understand from here. So I will just provide a context little bit that you will get this information from the message and you need to try to find out the information like, okay, supplier name, quantity and price. And again, a person who is requested a PO, that is a current logged in user. I want to clearly articulate that information over here in the step number one. So what I'm adding here as a first step is like this way. Read the information from the received message and try to find out the purchase order information like person who requested PO, supplier name, unit price and quantity. Here title is current logged in user's name. I'm just specifying that. Okay. Second instruction I want to provide is once you get this information, you need to call create item action in order to record this in the SharePoint. So what you can do for this kind of process, you just duplicate your page, okay, and make sure you open your action page as well side by side, because you need to provide the exit same action name so that it understand that, okay, I need to call this particular action in order to perform this activity. Okay, so let's go here. I'm just duplicating the page and I'm just keeping the action tab open. So I have this action, right? Create PO. I'm just copy this action name here. Okay. And I will just provide here that call an action, create item. I can paste it, create PO to create the PO into SharePoint. Okay. Up to this point. Let's provide number 3. Once it is created. Okay. Once it is created, with this we also want to start the PO approval process by calling which action? This action, PO approval for PO action. Okay, and PO amount will be what? Which is price multiplied by quantity. And what we want to do is also we need to send the summary of created PO to the flow as well, so that it can send it for the approval that, okay, this is what your I mean, because in this particular action we had two parameters, right? One is price and another is what is the description of the entire PO which is created. So let's just supply that information as well. So I'm just adding some lines as an instruction over here as well. So let me just add this. With this, start the PO approval process by calling PO approval action. PO amount will be unit price multiplied by quantity order. Send overall summary generated in the proper HTML format, including PO ID, supplier name, quantity, unit price in the approval action. So in that approval action, we need to send these 4 values as well as a summary, so that in email it will populate that. Once that is done, after that number 4, we need to convert now the currency exchange rate as well. Okay, so once PO is created, use the price amount and convert it to INR using which action? This one, get C rate. Get C rate custom connector. Okay. And once that is also done, need to send a summary email in the table format. Okay. I'm just writing last instruction here. Send summary email in table format with supplier information, quantity ordered, unit price in dollar, then unit price INR, right? Because we converted in the above step. Then PO approval status as well I need, and ID. Use proper, this is my common line for most of the time, proper HTML table format with professional look, and send to current user using send and send email action. Perfect. I'm just providing this 5 instruction to my agent. Let's save it. Okay, so at least it is done. We provided 5 instruction. Okay, looks good to me. Okay, let's see. Finger crossed now. I'm not sure if will it work in the first instance or second instance. And now you can see one strange thing. We copy pasted those action name and it just sent this kind of URL over here. Maybe we can just remove it. Okay, after you save, maybe because I just copied directly one, so it is showing like this way. Maybe you can just remove those URLs because this is like a rich text box. That's why, even just copying these names, it just copy pasted the whole thing with it. Okay, make sure it is correct. Save it. Hopefully, let's see. Now let's try to add one agent over here for myself. Okay, so let me add one message. I want to create below PO uh, supplier Helena Enterprise quantity. Let me add like 100 quantity and price will be like 950. Okay, let's see. All right, I'm hitting enter and let's see which sequence it start executing the thing. Session started. Let's wait. So see, it is showing me additional permissions are required to run this action. So this is first time it will throw you because we have flow action and inside that we have email action, right? We need to connect it out. So whenever you call any particular flow, it will always show you this kind of connection option. Okay, for the first time when you are running it. Okay, so maybe just click on connect and make sure it is connected here. Okay, I'm just clicking on connect in order to connect my flow. Submit it and it will just connect it over here. Okay, now you can retry from this step. Okay, and it sent the email back as well. Let's see. Purchase order summary, order 100, 950, unit price is this, approval status this, PO ID shows something incorrectly. Okay, but at least I'm happy that it come up very nicely. And this is what I haven't expected in the first go itself, but it come up very nicely. So it's good. We did our job in a very nice fashion. Now let's try to understand one more concept here. Let me reset this complete thing. Okay. Now here I want to explain you one more concept of dynamic chaining as well. Okay, so what is that concept? So right now what happened is I'm just creating one PO with the information I provided and it just stored the information, and even if you look at your SharePoint now, probably it just stored that information with Elena Enterprise. Okay, that record is stored. Now what happen if you are having multiple record coming at the same time? Let's say user is writing some sort of prompt like, okay, I want to create two POs with below information and they provide the information. Let's say I'm writing with this kind of prompt. I want to create two PO with the below information, Nila Telefilms and 25,500 and TRS production 50 and 750. Okay, people are because it's a generative AI, right? People can ask or people can enter anything. Now how this agent will try to do the chaining internally? Okay, that's the thing we need to understand here. And exactly how it is treating that is called as a dynamic chaining concept in the world of Copilot Studio. I will explain you, first show you the result and then explain you what exactly do we mean by the technical term which we are hearing from many days. Okay, so let's say I'm writing here, I want to create two PO with below information, and I'm sending two PO at a one go itself. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay. And you can see by instruction itself, here you provided two PO, right? It automatically understand that context and it automatically added to create PO action automatically over here, right? We haven't provided any such thing. Like in instruction, we just provided like, okay, do not miss anything from the message. So it automatically understand, and in activity map, you can clearly see two times first it creates the PO. Okay. After that, it just go for an approval for each action one by one, that okay, first item if amount is greater than, second time amount is less than, and then it get the currency exchange rate, and then it send the final summary email. Okay, now let's look at the summary email. Okay, so let's say if I'm going here for PO summary, see, final email is like this way: Nila Telefilms and TRS, because in one transaction you created both. So at the end it is giving you the confirmation as well that okay, this is what you created, your unit price in INR, your approval status, and your IDs are now corrected. Okay, and see here as well, like for approval the flow was triggered, right? Please check the below summary, and this is what we supplied as a message to summary. Okay, so this is like internally they can do, they can follow up, but at the end finally the user will get to know that okay, your both of the POs are created into the system and its status is pending at this point. Okay, now let me change the pricing little bit and let me make it like a auto approve. Okay, so it will not go for an approval, and let's see whether it's working fine or not. Okay, so right now see, both the PO amount is more than 10K. So obviously it will send for I mean in the pending status. Okay, but now let's make sure that amount will be going like a below 10K. Okay, so I'm just having one more prompt to be added here. Okay, so let me add here one more thing, and let me reset this completely now, and let me add this prompt. I want to create two PO with below information, 10 and 50, which means 500. Okay, which is again less than that, and 50 multiply by 7.5, around 750. Okay, let's see for Sagarika Enterprise and Mangesh Corporation. Okay, I'm entering this too, and make sure, let's see those two other item we just triggered, which is created or not. Okay, so see, Neela Telefilms and TRS Production both are created and storing this information. Okay, so looks good. Now let me check with this one. So when I hit enter, let's see how it start interpreting. So it added two times create PO action. It goes for an approval. Okay, amount, get the currency exchange rate, and then send an email. Everything is executed automatically. And let's see the final result now. See, this time it didn't send me any approval emails, but this is what I'm getting now, like 10K amount, which is again less than 10K, right? So it's like showing me the auto approved status over here that okay, your thing is created and it's stored like this way. Now you can again enhance this instruction a little bit more, that to do a greeting message. So you can just add some more thing over here, like apply greeting message and add the email signature, and how we were doing in the all the previous one, and provide it over here. Okay, so this is the way to go. Like this is like four action, and we didn't add trigger, but we are just picking up from the message. But on the same time, let's say if you want this is also to be configured from email trigger, that when someone send an email you want to do that, then probably just change the instruction little bit and add additional trigger over here as a coming from an email one. So you can just provide it as a trigger from here. All right, so this is what one of the big one which we have created with highest four action with Power Automate as well included into that. Okay, now the thing is that again, let me just go to the actions over here. Four actions we have added, and this is the way we are passing our content over here. Okay, and now we understand the dynamic chaining as well. So what is dynamic chaining? So in the world of Copilot, whenever you provide the multiple inputs to your agent, it automatically understand the context and it automatically switch the or call the action accordingly. So how does it know that it need to create two POs? Because here you mentioned in your instruction that create two POs, right? And probably it will, obviously approval will start at each individual one because for each purchase item require a separate approval. Okay, and then it call the currency exchange rate and final as a send email over here to perform this overall activity. Okay, so this is how you can just improve your Copilot agent a little bit. Again, here one thing we can improvement perform as an improvement. See, the first two steps are fine, two POs, so two individual action and two independent flow. That is fine. But why it is giving to get the currency exchange rate two times? Ideally, it should go only one time. Okay, because it is fine. Okay, first it will get a currency exchange rate itself. So only it should call one time. It shouldn't be called like multiple times. Okay, so maybe you can change your instruction little bit. Okay, I'm not doing it right away, but what you can do, maybe you can change the sequencing a little bit. That you are getting the pricing in the INR, right? Once PO is created, use the price amount and convert it to INR using this connector. So instead of that, maybe you can just make it at the very first step itself that, okay, I don't want to wait for, what is the INR rate. Maybe I can just tell to my agent that, okay, call get CR custom connector and get the INR rate for future purpose to use, and then maybe call all these instructions. So that will call only once and then this will call two times. So that's how we can improve our custom number of actions or sequences that you need to play around. So you can just change the sequencing, just check the result and make it happen in this way. Okay, so this is by I can say like by Touchwood, this second one is also going smoother and work exactly the way I wanted and giving me the result. And that is the power we have seen with this example, like dynamic chaining. Second thing, calling the Power Automate flow. And again, with that, use all the previous actions we have used so far. Okay, so that is your second use case for today's class. Now here I'll pause for a moment. If anyone has any question on this Power Automate integration and dynamic chaining, I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, we are good to go with the next one. So I can see raise hand from Balakrishna. You have a question? Yeah, you have a question. Yeah, please.
Yeah, Dravin. So Dravin, I just wanted to add one more column in a SharePoint as a status and pass that list item in a email. Is that possible?
Absolutely, it is possible. So you can
So
currently I
that
haven't added the status here, but yeah, you can do it. Multiple places you can manage it. Either you can write the same action in the Power Automate, right? So it's auto approved, then maybe just add an action here itself, like update an item. Or maybe if you don't want to do it, that's totally fine. Maybe what you can do as a next step, add an additional action over here, like update an item, and then we can just send it out because it understand the generative AI automatically. So you can add additional step once PO is created, update the status using update action and pass the status coming from the above result. So it will understand whether it's up auto approved and all. So yes, you can absolutely enhance this as well by adding one more additional step after it's been updates. For that, you just need to use update action over there.
okay. In addition to it, right? Can we pass that list item URL so that the user can click on it and open it and approve it there?
No, we can't do that. The reason being that is, uh, I know this is like a sometimes unnecessary one for the user. Even what I have tried is I try to add approval action itself here, but it's not working. The main thing is that because ultimately the thing is that you from your instruction this flow is starting from here and at the end it is ending the result to the user. Okay, so what happened here is at the end of this particular statement, it will just go back to the agent. So here you can't perform that, but you can try one more thing here. Maybe with the start of the approval process, maybe we can try this. Read the information quantity and maybe list item URL. Maybe I can just pass here price, unit price and quantity along with list item URL. Here the title is current logged in user. Call the action create PO. With this PO approval start process. Order ID send overall summary generated in proper HTML format. PO ID supplier unit price then comma uh, list item URL in approval action. Okay, let's see whether it's working or not. Yesterday when I was trying, I was able to get at least that URL property from the action. And maybe let's verify this as well. Like when create PO is executed, do we get the item ID for that or not? So let's say go output property, full path, identifier is folder link to item, right? Let's copy this exact name here. Maybe let's provide this link to item. Okay, and let's provide here as well. Link to item. Okay, let's save it. I'm just trying. I'm not sure whether it will work or not. And let me pick up the one which is having the higher PO amount. Let's try this out. Just entering this. Just doing this. Let's see. See, link to item. Yeah, it's working, I think. Let's see. But again, it just pick up something really random. Not sure. The link is not working. It's a second story, but maybe let's check the flow run as well. 53 seconds ago, this is executed. Create PO. Outputs, see more. Modified by modified on. I cannot see anywhere linked to item here anyhow. Maybe I can go inside the section. Link parameter. Maybe I just need to check on that. Okay, why this link is not working? Probably it's sending something, but when we click on that, it's not opening. That's the problem I can see at this point. But why it's not working, I maybe need to debug more into it. Maybe just need to check that, okay, what kind of link it is returning in the result. That will help me to debug that, okay, why this item is not directly opening when we click on that. But at least it is following the instruction. That's a good. So I can come up with this one why link is not working. Okay. Hope that's clear now, Bala.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Anyone else has any other question? Or maybe let me quickly check the chat window. Can we attach the quote or email approval? Can we attach quote or email approval? Attach
Like,
quote
can we
or
upload? Yeah, can we upload?
no, upload functionality is right now not there. So if you just provide an instruction like upload it or make it as a file, it's not following that instruction. So if you want to do it, there is another alternative to do it. Instead of doing that activity via agent's instruction, you can have that Power Automate in place, right? So in Power Automate you get the summary. So in that you can create a file using that summary. So you can use create file action inside the Power Automate to create the file to appropriate SharePoint location and use that file to send an email. So it will not be based on this instruction, but it is more going into your Power Automate. So just supply this information to Power Automate. Power Automate create the file and send it out, but not with the agent. So here, if you provide that, okay, create file, it will not create it because at this moment it's not supporting that activity. But yeah, you can just from third step, just provide it to your Power Automate to perform rest of the things and you are done. If you manage it via Power Automate, you can do that activity. But with instruction at this moment, files are not supported. Hope it
Thanks, Nikhil.
gives you answer. Yep. Okay. Great. All right. So now here we'll take 5 minute break and after that we'll just go with the third use case, which is again custom AI prompt inside the Copilot Studio. What is that? We'll talk about that. Okay. So it's a 5 minute break time and we'll connect exactly after 5 minutes, 9:36. So let's take 5 minute break here. Hope everyone is back. Maybe just give me some reactions if you're back. Hope everyone is back. Maybe guys just give me some reactions. Okay, perfect. All right. So now let's go to the one more step ahead where we will talk about one more implementation with custom actions or maybe AI prompt also. Multiple terminology in the technical world it is being used. I can see raise hand. Nazim, you have any question? Your hand is raised, so or maybe
No,
it's
no, no.
by
Like
mistake.
it's
Okay,
just
okay,
back. Yeah.
okay, okay.
No,
No,
sorry.
no
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
No worries.
Let me
Okay,
back.
okay, no worries. All right. So, what would be the third topic that we are going to cover up in today's class? So far, we talked about trigger actions multiple times, and now we looked at the Power Automate flow as well. Okay. Now we will club our trigger with Power Automate in a more advanced way. Okay, and we will perform more complex operation with the agent. Okay, in this particular case, what my end goal which I wanted to achieve here is, let me show you first the case study which we are going to cover up. Okay, so we will creating one agent which will automatically draft the feedback and send the feedback to the customers with the AI agent. Okay. Now, what is the behind the scene which is we need to use here? Let me tell you some sort of background around that. Okay. So generally, people are sending the feedback via feedback form, right? However, how you are sending, like after every class, I'm sending you the link of Microsoft form to submit the feedback for my class, right? Same way here as well, people are submitting the feedback. Now, what this AI agent is doing, it is reading each feedback from Microsoft form which is submitted and use the behind the scene sentiment analysis model. Okay, sentiment analysis model behind the scene to check whether this feedback is positive, negative, neutral, or mixed. Okay, and based on that, it will generate the personalized and well formatted email response to the user. So let's say if a person has provided a feedback that okay, great training, amazing use cases, blah blah blah, something like that, right? Then it will send them a message as well that okay, thank you so much for your valuable feedback. We are glad that you like this one and all. Okay, but let's say if someone has provided some negative feedback that okay, training session was good, but the training fee was high, blah blah blah, and many other things. So what happened is it will at the time as well it identify its sentiment as a negative sentiment, and it will provide a message in the background that okay, we are sorry to hear about this and we'll try to improve this, and at least it will send some sort of reply to the user in an automated way that at least your customer will feel happy that okay, you at least hearing them. Okay, so this kind of automatic feedback copilot you want to implement here. Now for this kind of sentiment analysis and that kind of analysis, Microsoft Power Platform also provides some AI builder actions. Okay, when you look at the AI hub in the world of Microsoft, it provides so many internal model where you just have a ready-made prompt which will just read your string and identify the sentiment of your statement and give you the reply that whether it's positive, negative, or neutral. Okay, so how can you do this overall action with the help of Copilot Studio? Let's talk about that, because here the main goal is to perform the sentiment analysis, and depending on that, you need to do the rest of the action. Okay, so how to perform it and how to achieve this overall thing with the help of Copilot Studio. So here, this is what we are looking as a uh, let's say as an end result. Okay, but now let me just deep dive into some of the background of AI hub which I'm talking about. Okay, so let me just open up my Power Platform and let me just open up any Power Apps or Power Automate, whichever thing you want to open over here. Okay, and whenever you open this up and when you click on more option from the left navigation, when you look at discover all option, you are able to see your AI prompts option. Okay, in AI section, there is a dedicated section and there is an option AI prompt. And when you click on that, it will be doing lots of activity for you. Okay, so many out of the box prompts are available for you. So if you look at this template, so let's say if you just want to summarize any text, or let's say if you want to extract any information from the text, if you want to classify your text, if you want to find sentiment analysis, you want to detect any kind of language, okay, there are different kind of prompts available over here. Okay, and those prompts are again called from the GPT model, large language model. Okay, so whenever you pick up anyone, let's say I'm picking up this sentiment analysis. Okay, and when you click on open in prompt builder, it will show you something like this, where you are having the different setting option, that okay, which model you want to use in order to execute this prompt that you are providing. And someone asked me again, like temperature. So again, like how much accurate result you wanted to have that. So specifically with this custom AI prompt action, this temperature option is available, but not at the Copilot Studio level. Okay, so you can just use your appropriate model over here, and you can customize your prompt, and this prompt will give you the result. Okay, so this type of prompt writing functionality is available in the world of AI Builder. Now they have given the different name with the same AI prompt in the world of Copilot Studio. What it is, let's talk about that. So let's go to Copilot Studio and let's create this fresh use case, because here we want to start creating an agent which is automatically read the feedback from the Microsoft form and automatically draft a reply for it. Okay, so let's create a new agent. I'm clicking on skip to configure over here, and let's provide the name of the agent. So I'm just providing the agent name is Feedback Copilot 2.0, and I'm just providing the description. You are feedback analyzer agent. Your task is to analyze the feedback tone and need to take appropriate action based on that. Okay, and click on create. At this moment, I only want to provide this to information, and let's create an agent. All right, so now my agent is created over here. Now, what we are talking about here is specifically to create our own custom action to analyze the sentiment. Okay, so let's go to actions and click on add a new action. And when you click on new action, here there is one more option available. So now we are looking for each and every option. So yesterday today we talked about custom connector, Power Automate flow, and there is one more option available, new prompt option. Okay, now what exactly this new prompt will do for you, let's have a look. So when you click on new prompt, it will ultimately redirecting you to the another page, which is nothing but same like Copilot AI Hub. Okay, so let's see where it will redirecting you. So it is redirecting you to this action page into Copilot Studio, and it will open up this kind of prompt. So here the thing is that you can create your own custom action the way you want. Okay, and here you can write your own custom prompt as well, that okay, how you want to treat your language model and what kind of information you want to retrieve from it. That's something you need to define it over here. Okay, so this is where you can start writing your action. Okay, so it is having 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 different steps to write your own prompt over here. Now with this prompt you can do so many different things. Okay, let's say sometimes you have a scenario in your organization where people are entering some sort of confidential information in the chat message, like okay, uh, PII information, okay, like email addresses, like home addresses, something like that, right? And you want to implement some agent in a way that okay, if user is entering any PII information, it will show them a message in a return that you have entered PII messages, which is not allowed here. Make sure that you do not add any confidential information here. Okay, let's say if you want to identify that somehow, that find out confidential information, find out PII data, and those kind of things. You can always use this kind of prompt over here. Like this prompt will help you to define that, okay, what is your PII? Does it has any PII information or not? This kind of sentiment analysis you can do it over here. Okay, so that kind of decision making you can make it over here with this kind of prompt action in the Copilot Studio. Okay, so this is what we need to start here with. Okay, now the very first step that we need to take here is simply need to provide the name of the action over here. So let me just provide the name of the action is find sentiment analysis. Analysis. Now here you just need to provide the description over here that okay, what this action will do. So I'm just writing some sort of message over here like this action will read each feedback submitted by the students and try to find out sentiment from negative, neutral or positive. Okay, so I'm just providing this instruction. And in which solution you want to create this? So class 06 solution, I want to build this custom prompt. So I'm just defining this find sentiment analysis. Okay, and let's click on next. So it will go to the next step to create a prompt. Let's go there. Will take some moment, and second step will appear over here on our screen, which is creating a prompt. Okay, and what I'm doing here is here you can start typing your prompt. So prompt is something which you can type by your own, or you can use the out of the box prompt template here as well. So if you click on prompt library, it will open the exact same prompt library which I've just shown you in the AI Hub in the Power Platform. So it's nothing but the same thing is integrated here in the Copilot Studio, and they have given this as a separate name called as a prompt action, which means that you can use the prompt as an action inside your Copilot Studio. That's why it is called as a prompt action, but it is nothing new. It was there in the world of AI builder since last 1.5 years. Now the only thing is that they have integrated this along with Copilot Studio, so you can have your own custom high defined prompt and get the information the way you want. Okay, so we'll simply use this out. So now what we will do from this prompt library, we can just use any template if we want. Otherwise, we can start drafting by our own. Okay, let me see if there is anything available for sentiment analysis. So let's say here it is available something that evaluate the sentiment for the given text, taking into account its emotional tone, uh, subtle language, and it's full prompt, and it just find out the positive, negative or neutral, and look for emotion specific terminology that could affect the sentiment reading. In case of mixed emotion, identify the most dominant sentiment, analyze the neutral phases that may have positive or negative undertone, and gauge the message urgency. So it's a big prompt which is written here in a very nicely fashion. Okay, so it's fine. I mean, I'm good with this, and I'm happy to use the same tone, same prompt for myself. In case, let's say if you don't want to use it, you can maybe clear this out and you can start writing this prompt that, okay, analyze like this way, analyze the text, and maybe text is something which you need to supply here somehow in the variable. So you can just define your variable that, okay, how you want to supply this value over here. Okay, so you just start defining that prompt for your as well. So let's say I'm just providing here text, and I'm just providing here like, okay, feedback text, and maybe I just need to provide some sort of input data as well, like, okay, great training sessions. Okay, I'm just providing some sort of input, analyze the text and provide the sentiment for the feedback you received. These feedbacks are given by the students they are attending some classes for the Copilot Studio. Try to understand the students' mentality and provide me the tone as mixed, positive, negative, or neutral. And just change the spelling. Okay. Um, I'm just writing like this way. Let's taste the prompt up to this point. Okay. Click on taste prompt and let's see what it will giving me as a result. So the sentiment for the feedback grade training session is positive. Okay. So it's becoming more specific. Okay. And just giving me this kind of result over here. Okay. You can change your prompt as well if you want. So this is how you can start writing your own custom prompt. Okay. Let's say if you want to take some inspiration, so maybe just copy this thing. Okay. And maybe let me paste in the notepad right now. And maybe let me just use I'm just clearing this prompt from prompt library. Let's say what they have provided with. Okay. So sentiment. Okay. So here the sentiment is more proper, like do not add any other explanation, right? And maybe analyze the neutral phrases. Maybe this is the common thing, right? We can use in our prompt as well in case of mixed emotion, blah blah blah. And okay, let's copy this and combine it with our prompt that we are having. Okay, and now let me just copy this thing. Let me clear this prompt out and let me write my own one. And instead of this feedback text, I need to get this feedback from the input that I supplied. So I just need to, when you remove it, just remove this text. So feedback, great training sessions. Okay, add an input. And now let's taste the prompt here and see what it will return to me. And see, now it is just showing me positive, negative, neutral, something like this. Okay, so looks good to me. I mean, I changed tweak my prompt a little bit over here and it just did that amazing job for me. Okay, now let's click on save here. So at least my prompt is ready. Okay, let's click on save. Will take some time in order to save it. Next, you need to select the action parameter. Let the screen to be appear here. Okay, so here you are getting the feedback. Okay, so people are entering feedback and output will be like tone. Perfect. Next, taste your action. You can taste it from here. And this will basically add your plugin into Copilot for Microsoft 365. So it's nothing but it is adding your own plugin action for yourself. Okay, you can click on taste. It will not redirecting you anywhere. Don't need to do anything here at this point. Okay, let's click on publish in order to publish this one. And this is the name of the action. Okay, find the sentiment analysis. Okay, take a screenshot of this because ultimately you need to search this action by this name. Okay, so I'm just taking the screenshot. Click on publish and let this prompt action to be published. Okay, will take some time in order to publish. Let's wait for a moment. Okay, so it's nothing but it is creating your own custom plugin action for yourself. Okay, let's wait. Okay, and it is taking some time. Okay, and it's done. And now let's click on go to details page. And when you go there, you are able to see, this is what you are able to see in your agent, find sentiment analysis. Okay, now we created our prompt action. Okay, custom action we already created. Now let's consume that action inside our agent. So now what I'm doing here is I'm just refreshing here. Okay, and I'm already in my Copilot and now I want to use this, right? So I can simply click on here. Okay, and search here for my action feedback. What's the name I had? Find sentiment analysis, right? So let's search for that. Find sentiment analysis. Okay, and specifically underneath library action, you will be able to find it easily. Okay, so over here you are able to see 3 actions because couple of them I have created earlier, so you are able to see that. But see which one we have created because we created a screenshot for it, right? Find sentiment analysis. This is the one we created for ourselves, right? Otherwise is find sentiment and auto reply, right? I don't want to use this one. Okay, and another is also something which I created earlier, but this is what I just built up and I want to use this action, right? So I can simply use this find sentiment analysis. Okay, let's select this, and basically when you select it, it will just show you this kind of random name for your connection. Just don't be afraid of it. Okay, we just need to rename this a little bit. So I'm just renaming this now, like find sentiment analysis and auto reply, and maybe I'll just description, I think I'm fine with this. Okay, input and output let's configure later. Let's click on add action first. Okay, so at least this feedback action will be provided over here first. Okay, so it was added perfectly, and make sure you go here and make sure orchestration is on because we want to build autonomous agent. So I'm making the orchestration on. Okay, it's done. And now what we need to do as a next step is we created this, and now my action is here. Let's click on that. And here we need to simply change a name little bit, find sentiment and auto reply. And let's go to the input parameter. Required inputs are nothing. Additional input we need to supply feedback parameter, right? Feedback is coming from dynamically. Okay, feedback. And maybe you can just provide some name description feedback from the student. Okay, let's save this up. And here I am. See, it's just having this action available over here for ourselves. Okay, now action is ready. Now we need to draft the auto reply to the student. Okay, so let's add an action over here first. So what I'm doing here is I'm going here and let's add an action, send an email action. Office 365 Outlook. Let's select this out. Will take some time. Let's click on next. And after that, let's use Copilot authentication and add an action. Okay, that's it. And now what next we want to do here on this is we just want to provide some sort of trigger and action instructions over here. Okay, so let's provide some sort of trigger over here first. Okay, so in trigger, what I want is I personally want to first check out like, okay, what would be the feedback? And the thing is that we want the automated trigger here that people are submitting feedback via Microsoft form, and that form feedback is somewhat which I want to directly use it over here. Okay, now in trigger as well, we will do couple of tweaks. Okay, so let's click on add trigger first, and let me show you first one more important thing available. So I'm just doing one thing. I'm opening my Microsoft form, and I just created one form over here just for the testing purpose, feedback training form. Okay, and here you just need to enter your name and email address and feedback. Okay, that is something which is public link which I'm sharing with everyone, and they will just provide the feedback. Okay, and using this form data, I want to automatically trigger my agent and perform this whole activity. Okay, so what I'll do here is I will just use a trigger here, like when a response is submitted. Okay, let's use this when a new response is submitted. When a new response is submitted, I want to trigger this. Let's click on next. Then you need to provide your form ID. So it will show you all the forms for yourself. So let's say I'm searching for my Microsoft form feedback training form. Okay, and use this content from the body. It is showing me that, and click on create trigger. Okay, so let's first create a trigger. Now let's click on close and the trigger is created. Okay, now let's go to edit in Power Automate. Now there is one problem with this trigger action. What it actually doing is it just click on when a response is submitted, it trigger it out, and basically it send the response of the whole body. Okay, from this it is just sending you the whole body response. Okay, now the thing is that for some connectors like Microsoft Form, you will not get the response directly in the body. You need to retrieve it using some other action, and then you will get that response, and then probably you can just supply that response to your Copilot in order to perform the rest of the action. Okay, but here by default out of the box is just sending the body content from your action. This is by default nature. So sometimes, let's say when this kind of triggers are created, after that you can customize it as well inside your Power Automate. So yesterday we added the trigger multiple times, but we never touched that trigger by editing it via Power Automate. But today we will do that, because what happened is form will not give you the direct response over here. And in Power Automate class as well, we have taken the similar example as well. Like when Microsoft Form is giving you any response, if you want to fetch the response, you need to add any additional action for that. So let's add that. So when we go to Microsoft Form, we just need to get the response details from it. So we'll just need to add one additional action, and again here we need to configure the form, which is my feedback form, feedback training form, and response ID is something which you will get from the top one. So from dynamic content, you will just provide the response ID and it will automatically add this kind of loop on the top. Okay. Now the thing is that from this one, you need to get the name, email, and feedback entire thing and need to supply over here somehow. Okay. So for that, let's maintain one variable over here. Initialize variable. And let's provide the name of the variable as content string, variable content string with the type of string. And what we'll do inside this, let's try to set the variable and let's try to print out the value over here inside it. So I'm just saying that, okay, name is, I can just get the name. Okay. Then I can just write a full stop. Then I can write email is from here. You will get the email address and feedback is, you can just provide the feedback. Okay, you just have these three information over here. Like this is what you need to supply to the agent afterwards. Okay, so use content from this variable instead of this body. Okay, so what you need to do instead of this body, just provide that content string over here to send out the response. Let's publish it. Okay, it's done. And now what we'll do, we'll just go here. Okay, it's already run, your flow is published. Okay, and it's all good. Now let's try to test this out. Okay, but before we do the testing, we need to provide instruction to our agent as well. Like, okay, what kind of activity the agent need to perform, right? So let's provide some instructions over here. Okay, so what I'm doing right now, I'm just try to adding one by one instruction that, okay, what exactly the agent need to do. Okay, so I'm just writing the first line common here. You are feedback analyzer agent. Your task is to analyze the feedback tone and need to automatically send reply to the person. You need to execute the following task. And now let's enter this task one by one. Number one. So I'm just pasting something here first. That, okay, first, when someone submits the feedback using Microsoft form, you will get the feedback with name, email, and feedback values, because yeah, that is what we are returning from it. Second one I want to have here is send the feedback to this action. You need to mention that action name. So again, duplicate this to find out the action name. We already built that AI action, right? Using which we need to send this out. So let's provide this, send feedback to which action it is. If I go to actions, this is the action, right? Find sentiment and auto reply. Let's provide that find sentiment and auto reply action to analyze the tone for the feedback. Okay, and third instruction, based on the feedback email, you need to send an email to the person who submitted the feedback. Make sure email is well HTML formatted and casual in tone. I'm just writing this third instruction over here. Okay, and let's click on save. And when you save it, see, when you copy pasted the action name, so it just added the URL. Maybe you just remove the URL. Because this is like a sensitive rich text box editor, so that's why you are able to see like that way. You copy paste and it just act as link like that way. Okay, looks good. Now it's high time to test, because now what it will do here, how many tweaks we did, we change the trigger as well a little bit, the way we want to customize. Second, we use custom AI action. And third, we just use this kind of prompts. Even let's say after that you want to store this feedback somehow in your SharePoint or Dataverse, you can do that as well. Okay, you add some more actions. We have already done this multiple times earlier, so you can just add more and more steps to do the rest of the things. Okay, now let's test this out. So for that, let me go to the form and I will submit one feedback here first. Okay, so I'm just collect the response. Just going to preview. I'm just entering my name, Govin, and I'm just adding my email address. And I'm just providing some sort of feedback over here. Let me just add some feedback. Like this training session was informative and engaging. The trainer explained the complex topic in a very simple way. I'm just providing this. Okay, let's click on send submit button. And as soon as you do that activity, go to your agent and make sure you go to your trigger and let's check the trigger. See, just triggered. Start testing and let's see. It triggered. Let's see what it will do. It will find the sentiment analysis. It's positive. See, and let's see what it will do afterwards. So it is sending the feedback again to Dhruvin. Let's see the mailbox. And see, here I am getting, dear Dhruvin, thank you for your positive feedback. We are delighted to hear that you find this training engaging, blah, blah, blah. We appreciate your time and things and all good. Like this kind of feedback, it's always sending to the users. Okay. Even let's say I'm just pasting this link in the general way. If any one of you right now itself, you want to try it out, feel free to. Whatever feedback or maybe just enter the correct email address, you will receive the email right straightforward to you. So it's just like a tasting. If you guys also want to taste this one, so you can do it. Meantime, I'm submitting one negative feedback now and let's see what kind of response it will generate based on the negative tone. Okay, so I'm just going into preview again and I'm just adding like again and again I'm just entering my email address. I haven't published this yet, so maybe if your trigger receive here, I can be able to trigger it out manually. Now let me just add a feedback here. uh, I'm just providing some sort of negative feedback. Let's say the training session was too expensive, it needs to be affordable. Okay, I'm just providing this kind of feedback, so I'm just doing this. Okay, and let's see the feedback received or not. So I can just go to the overview again and let's see the trigger. And let's see, this is second one. Let's start testing. Okay, it's a negative sentiment. Okay, let's see what it will reply with. Okay, so now I'm checking my mailbox again and I can get this. We appreciate your honesty and value your opinion. We understand that you found this training session to be too expensive and that affordability is a concern for you. We are constantly striving to improve our offerings and make them more accessible to everyone. Your feedback will be taken into consideration as we review the pricing structure. Thank you for once again for your valuable input, right? So, it created this email in a very well formatted and very the tone that I have supplied, like okay, casual tone, don't use any kind of harsh language or any such things, and it created this structure. Just send this kind of email to the users. Right now, if anyone is submitting it, you guys will also get any kind of response from that. If anyone is submitting, just let me know. I'll check the trigger and see if I get anyone else. No, I didn't get anyone else. So far so good. And this is how we create the custom AI action, and we tweak our trigger as well a little bit and just head it in that way. Okay. I think not permission. Okay, form permission. Let me just change it. Submit. Uh, collect response. Anyone can respond. Shorten URL, copy the link. Maybe I'm pasting the link again. Maybe you can just check it one more time. You will be able to submit it if you want. Okay. Now, what I can do as a next step is, now, right now, the way we are testing is we are just triggering it out from here and testing. Once you publish it, it will be available for, I mean, coming as an autonomous one. As soon as anyone is submitting, it will just have that option available for the people. Okay. So let me just refresh the screen and let me publish this out as well. So once you do every testing and then entire thing, then publish it. Okay. So that autonomous trigger will work same like your Power Automate. Okay. So let's publish this out. And as soon as you do this, it will available. Okay, it's published. So now without any interaction as well, it will work. Okay, but let me see if there are any triggers available. So yeah, I just received this one. Okay, maybe we can debug this. Okay, after that, maybe we can check the automated as well. Start testing. Don't know who submitted, but let's see. It started. It's mixed reaction. Okay. And I think Vikas sent this email. So yeah, probably he should receive an email as well. With here I can see some sort of HTML and all. Yeah, I can hear your concern, Vikas. So don't worry. Okay, so probably you get the automatic response for that as well. All right. So yeah, that is how it will look like. All right.
But
Now,
interestingly, I got two mails.
yeah. Okay, because I tested here and another is I published as well just now. When you taste it, one is something which you can get from this taste one, and second one, before maybe you submit it, I just published this agent as well. So that's the reason. Or a second possibility is that I created the similar agent earlier as well. Maybe let me check version one of this feedback agent. Maybe it can throw from there as well. I can quickly check this out. Feedback Copilot agent 1.0 is something which I created. Maybe. Okay. Okay, finally you get the email, so that's good one. Okay, and let me quickly check here activity. So 1, 2, no, it's not triggered from here. It's because of I published it and second time I tested it as well. If I test it again, he will get another email. So maybe now if someone submit one more, probably let me check. Vikas, can you submit one more, please? So
Yeah.
we can test it as well. Or maybe anyone else as well. You guys also can try it out if you want. Okay. And maybe when he submit, I will check that as well inside this activity tab as well. I can track that out that okay, whether it's triggered or not, like same like your Power Automate flow, I will able to see the tree map over there. Okay, so let's see once he submit, we'll need to wait for a few minutes and after that we'll be able to see that. Okay. Once you submit, Vikas, just let me know.
It's done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Nikhil has also submitted. Okay, let's see, both of you should receive a response soon. Okay, meantime, I'm just checking in the flow action itself directly, whether it's get triggered or not yet. Okay. So at least 29 seconds ago and 44 seconds ago, I can see 2 responses submitted. Let's see. Let's wait for the agent to finish the process. And once you guys receive an email, please let me know.
I have received it. Send it to you.
Okay, perfect. Hopefully this time you will receive only one. Okay. Okay, great.
Yeah, that's all
Perfect.
fine. Yeah, it's one
Okay.
only.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Yeah. So that's what we did with the agent directly. And we didn't do much code and everything. We just create our prompt action and it did this entire thing for us. Right. So this is one more use case I wanted to cover up, AI action. Already agent is AI, agentic. This is again another word for autonomous agent, which is called as agentic, which means AI plus agent. That's how they combine these two words. So this type of agent is also nowadays many people are using and building and pushing into production. So you can just use it for your overall stuff as well. Okay, so that's third use case for today's class. Now, I would like to pause here for a moment. If anyone still has any question or did not understand anything, I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, we can go with the next use case, which is again like a schedule flow kind of thing, schedule agent. Every day it will do that activity automatically for you guys. Okay, so we'll talk about that. So I'm
What you
open
said was agentic.
yes, yeah, AI plus agent. So agentic. That's what the word they are using. I mean, different people are using different wording. Like some are saying autonomous agent, some are saying agentic chatbot. It's different words for the same things. Okay.
Good, thank you.
All right, great. All right. Anyone else has any other thing? Maybe just give me some reactions that at least so far following me. Okay, Manoj has a question. At least by Touchwood, today's demos are working so fine. Till third demo, I'm happy for that. At least, let's see. Hopefully, fourth one will also work. Yeah, Manoj, you raise your hand, please.
Yeah, Dhruv. We are sending our query through email, right, as of now.
Yes.
So, and we are parsing email body. So can we attach any attachment like PDF or Excel sheet? And can we parse the data from that attachment?
I have tried that, Manoj. Actually, it's not working at this point because this instruction is unable to find out the content from the email at this point. Okay, as I said, someone asked me this question during approval time as well, right? If we want to parse it out from the file, basically we need to do that into Power Automate. So what you need to do, like as soon as your someone is sending you email or something, Power Automate is powerful enough to get the attachment content, get the file content. Then maybe in that side you can somehow read that content into Power Automate inside the text format and pass that text somehow to your agent to perform rest of the operation. Then it will be able to do that. But if you tell your agent as an instruction directly here that analyze those Excel or Word that is coming as an attachment, you will not be able to do that, because the biggest problem is that any trigger that you are using inside the Copilot agent, like let's say this is the trigger, right? If you look at the trigger and if you look at the response from it, okay, when we need to send this response back to it, there is no such option available at this point to attach a file. So let's say in future, if they provide some option over here that, okay, as a trigger action, you can submit your file as a response, then probably you will be able to achieve that. But right now we don't have that functionality available in place with this trigger and actions. So you can't do any action from attachment at this point.
Yep. Okay, Dhruv. Right. Thank
All
you.
right. Perfect. Great. All right. Now let's go to the last use case for the day, which is easy one. Very, very easy one. And some of you who have attended my Power Automate class earlier, we created the similar use case with complete Power Automate in the first class or second class itself. And many of you at that point find that use cases to be very hard, for at least for the second class, because we didn't reach up to the point where we understand the Power Automate actions and all. Okay, but now today we will pick up the similar use case, but with this agent. we will not write any single line of code. Okay, we'll just tell agent the instruction that what we want, and it will do complete operation to us automatically without doing lots of group by, lots of operation, lots of compose, lots of sort operation. We don't need to do anything. It will manage entire thing by its own. And what's the power we are getting there? Let's talk about that with the next example, which is schedule trigger for Power Automate. Okay, now the another limitation over here with schedule trigger at this moment with this agent is I'll not be able to test it instant at this point. Okay, for that I have created another one already in the past, which is already scheduled. We will test it with that, and we will try to make it the interval small to do wait for 1 minute or 2 minutes to test it to see how it goes. Okay, so let's get started with that. So first of all, let me open up the use case over here, like what we are actually trying to build it up. Okay, so use case number 4, we are trying to build one autonomous daily scheduler. Okay, and what this daily scheduler will do, it will go to your SharePoint list and it will check like how many tasks are due at this point, and from that task it will just arrange it in a group by format, that okay, who is the person assigned to, and just send those reminder to the user on a daily basis. So every day in the morning that agent will start executing and do entire operation and do that activity for you. Okay, how? Let's see. But before that, let's take a look of the SharePoint structure first. Okay, so I'm just closing all the unnecessary thing that I have on my screen at this point, and let me just open up my list over here first. Okay, so here I do have one SharePoint list which is having different task reminders. Okay, and different tasks are here and it is assigned to different people as well, like Dhruvin, some tasks are assigned to contact account, and these are the tasks and its due date is also showing up over here. Okay, I need to use this data in order to perform this overall operation. Okay, so how we can get started by using that? So here we will use two basic concept. One is Power Auto Schedule Trigger, which is nothing but ultimately behind the scene is Power Automate Flow, and then generative AI, which means that autonomous agent functionality that will perform that entire activity for me. Okay, let's see how we can do it for ourselves. Okay, so let me just open this up quickly. Let me go to the agent. Let me open my solution again. Okay, so let's go to class number 6 and create one more agent over here. Automation, sorry, new agent. Let's skip to configure and let me provide the name here is daily schedule agent 2.0. And right now I'm not providing any instruction to it. Okay, we'll provide the instruction later on, and let's click on create. First, always start creating your base framework ready and then start writing the instruction. Okay, don't start like from the beginning itself. Otherwise, you'll get confused that what instruction to provide, what not, and all. Okay, so we'll just do this. Okay, perfect. Now, first add an action. Okay, so obviously, like trigger is schedule trigger. So schedule trigger, of course, we will add, but at then we want to send an email as well, right? So let's just add a simple action first, send an email. So at least that part is finished. Send an email for Office 365 Outlook. So far in all the example, mostly you will find that I'm doing the same thing. Okay, maybe that's something you have as an assumption, but guys, every example has a different flavor. Okay, so that's the reason I need to take the multiple proof of concepts over here, because I just wanted to do step by step over there. Okay, so although this adding action and authentication is same most of the time, but most of the time trigger and its actions are most of the time different. So that's the reason why we have this different use cases over here. So at least you will get an idea about the capability. Okay, so now I'm just having this. I don't want to change anything. Maybe I'll just rename the action a little bit. Send an email. Let's just make it like this, send an email. Okay, perfect, and save it. And after that, let's try to add one trigger. So we are done with this, and let's try to add trigger now. And this should be recurrence trigger. Every day in the morning, it should be triggered. But before that, we need to turn on the orchestration as well. Let's click on that. Okay, I did this, add a knowledge. Okay, click on, sorry, not knowledge, trigger. Okay, and in trigger, we have an option available called recurrence. Okay, let's click on the recurrence trigger. As soon as you do that, there is an option provided for scheduling it, recurring the trigger. It will just provide that option. Okay. Recurring next. What interval you want to use in order to perform this schedule? Okay, I'm just making every 5 minutes at this moment, but after that I will change it to 1 day. Okay, every 5 minutes. Okay, I want to trigger this out. Okay, use content from body. Here you can't change anything. Create it first and then we will change it. Okay, let's trigger it. Okay, so it's adding the trigger. So this is the trigger type of schedule, recurrence. Okay, so far we have all the instant trigger. Now from here we'll just edit this in the Power Automate. Okay, and here you can see it just send a body which is incorrect. We shouldn't be send that. Okay, so now first of all, what I want to do here, I want to simplify my result a little bit here first before I sending this action to the agent. Okay, because the thing is that, okay guys, in Power Automate you have many rows, right? We can't send all the rows for AI to, identify and judge the decision on that. So maybe we can use some sort of filtering first before we send this result to the agent. So let's do one thing. Although in Copilot Studio, knowledge source SharePoint list is not supported, but you can do this kind of alternative with this kind of Power Automate, where you will grab the data first from SharePoint and provide that as a response to your agent. Then your agent will be use that as your source and provide you the output. Okay, that kind of alternative you can always do it for yourself. Now what we'll do here, simply we'll use action get items from SharePoint. Now here there are endless capability, no matter what kind of data source you are having, right? Now someone is asking me that, let's say I have on-premise SQL Server, or maybe I do have like Azure SQL Server, or anyway, the actions are available in the Power Automate. You can have gateway availability, you can have this data and then pass that to your agent. That's something you can also do it. Okay, now let's provide the site address. So this is my site address, Power Automate use cases, and list name, let me provide like task reminder. Okay, now here if you just want to limit your result set, you can apply filter query and all these operation as well if you want. Okay, I'm not providing any kind of filtering at this point. I'm just making like, okay, I'm just picking up 100 rows at this moment. Okay, I don't want to pull more at this point. Okay, and then what I'll do, we know that Power Automate is providing the whole big response in always in the JSON format. Okay, so we can do some sort of manipulation in the Power Automate itself first, like with select statement we can reduce the unwanted stuff that we really don't want in the future step. Okay, so let's say for an example in this one, I am only caring about, okay, what is the task, what's the due date, maybe what's the assigned to value, and what's the email address. I'm caring about only 4 columns. I don't care about all the other columns that is coming up from the get item as a result. Okay. So maybe I can do the manipulation in the Power Automate with the select action over here itself. Again, it's a Power Automate concept. With select, we can just provide the result of get items and map what information we need as a result. I need the task. I can use task, and task is coming from the above get item as a title. Second, I need due date. I can just have this due date as well from SharePoint. Then I can have assigned to. So basically it will make the bigger JSON structure into smaller JSON structure, nothing more. So assigned to display name, and then email address of the person, because ultimately we want to send the email to that person. Okay, so I'm just having that assigned to email address. Okay, so from people picker we just fed this information, and right now at the very end I will supply that output over here. Use the content from this select action. Okay, so let's just supply it. Okay, and you can see output item. So when you do output item, you can see it automatically add the loop on the top, which we really don't want, because ultimately it should not go to the loop because it's a returning parameter. So let's see what make it loop, like this output, right? Select body, let's copy this. Okay, and let's copy this, and maybe let's make it on the top, and instead of this output item, let's apply it from entire output of the body. Okay, and remove this apply to each from here. So we are sending this entire select statements output over here for analysis as a next step. Okay, so we are just sending this. Let's publish this one. And here we are getting this. Okay, now let's go back. So flow is ready, and it started in the background. It started executing a little bit. Okay, so let it to be happen. Okay, now, and even if you look at this run, because we added like every 5 minutes, right? So far almost like 5-10 minutes already happened. So it started, and see get items is giving you this result. Let's see up to this debug up to this point. Okay, so in output you are getting this whole big response, see whole JSON. So from this JSON with the select statement, we are just making it a smaller output. If I look at the select statement, and if I look at its output, see it becoming very small here, structured, right? Instead of that big one. So it is giving me all the task, and then it is sending it to this agent. Okay, so it is doing this activity. Okay, now over here we are done with this. Now we need to provide the instruction to the agent that okay, how it need to treat that message. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm just clicking on this one, and now let's try to provide some description and instruction to the agent. So this time I'm copy pasting actually. Let me just do one thing quickly. So let me just try like this. You are daily scheduler agent, daily scheduler agent, and first task it need to perform here is you will get the task via recurring agent. You need to analyze task during next 2 days and group them by whom it is assigned to. Let's provide this. Second thing, once it is grouped by, you need to use send an email action. So I'll use like you need to use send an email action to send the tasks to each individual one. Make sure that you don't miss any single one. 21, and email should be well structured, well formatted, HTML. Okay, let's provide this instruction. And finger crossed, let's test it out now. Okay, so we can just go to trigger, test it. We can see the previous trigger already happened. Start testing and let's see. Refresh it. Let me refresh it. I'm not able to click on that somehow. Let's click on that. Make sure your flow is also published. It's already published. Okay, 2.0. Let's go again. Start testing. I'm clicking here. It's not going. Meantime, let me check in the background if it started sending anything. It is sending, but I'm not sure whether it's coming from there or somewhere else. Because this is still not sending. I'm not able to test it out. Okay. Everything is enabled, everything is fine, but still it can happen. Okay. It's normal. And I told you maybe I'll not be able to fully test this scenario at least because it's a scheduled trigger. And sometimes it's taking time in order to get this impact to be impacted. Okay. Let's see if I can still able to test it or not. Otherwise, I will show you from the previous one. Okay, but after sometimes you can come again and check this out. Let's see, it's still not going over there. Okay, and I know this behavior is common because to build this as well, I deleted once, I re-added that again. Okay, this kind of activity I have done earlier as well. So maybe let me go to the version 1 to see if it is working fine or not. Version 1, same exact thing I have done here as well. Okay, but let's see if, because I started doing that recurrent things long time. See, so many runs are already happened for it because from the morning itself I set it up as a schedule because I know I wanted to show it to you. Maybe let's start testing here. So look, it will go to the activity map like this way. Okay, and it will start looking at the content and send an email like this way. Okay, now if you look at the output, I just received an email. Okay, task due in next 2 days. So here it will automatically find out that, okay, next 2 days, what are the task dues? It will just give that to you. Okay, if you change your context a little bit, let's say last 5 days, next 5 days due task. So, okay, so let's say if you change it in next 5 days, then it will change that logic as well. So let's say I'm going here. Okay, and now I'm just doing the test again, and let's see this time how many items it will give it to you. Okay, and it send each email to each individual one. In contact as well, you receive one email, and on my account as well, I get one email. Okay, let's see, it executed and I get second email. And see here I do have some more tasks because some of the tasks are due on 5th, which is again like in next 5 days. So it automatically understand that and provide it with this information. So you can just instruct it more and you can get whatever you want. Now this group by and everything handle automatically by AI itself. We didn't write any single line of logic over there. It just make it happen perfectly for it. And if I open my another mailbox, maybe Power Platform contact. Maybe I can see those emails over there as well, which are the task assigned to contact email address. So the next 5 days task for contact, these are the data, and next 2 days task are this one. So it's just showing me this kind of result as an output. Okay, so yeah, that's what you will get it from at least the schedule agent. Now, that was not working. What you need to do simply to make it work is simply like you already have flow logic and everything built. It's just a matter that you need to delete that agent, and maybe if you recreate and do that again, it will work. Sometimes this is the behavior, like from yesterday itself we have seen that. And by doing more and more examples into this Copilot agent, I have observed that sometimes it's not start following your instruction. Then the best way is to delete it and recreate it. I know it's very frustrating sometimes, because if you have done many things and after that it's not working, then you feel that okay, whichever thing you performed, you need to redo things. But right now, like some of the feature, like specifically trigger is in preview, so we are facing this issue many times, so we need to completely delete it and delete the agent itself. So you go to your agent section, and maybe this 2.0 which I created, I delete this, and maybe I will recreate it, and after that it will start working again. Okay, because yesterday as well I do the same creation for auto schedule that we wanted to test. It was not following the instruction, and after that it start working. So if this happens, you need to do this, and that's the reason for this before class I will create some of the agents already. So if it's not working during my live class, at least I can show you the end result, that what you will get it from there. Okay, so yeah, that's the last activity for the day which I wanted to do it. And yeah, now I'm open the stage for any Q&A if you have any. Otherwise, we are good to wrap up for today's class. And in next session, we will talk about more component and more other remaining topics for the agent that we wanted to talk about. Yep. So stage is open. Anyone else has any other question? Uh, Vikas, you have question?
No.
Okay. So you just all right, perfect. Okay. Anyone else has any other thing before we wrap up? Please bring it up. Okay, yeah, Nikhil, go ahead.
Yep, the features that we are using, enabling the AI, in the overview section,
Yes,
it's currently in preview mode, right?
correct.
So at this point, is it recommended to use it and start deploying it into production? Because at times in similar preview features, we do get issues, etc. They are not yet stable.
Yeah, they are not stable, I can say. But let's say, they are not production ready for sure. Even the glitches we have seen right now in the demos itself, right? So it's not production ready for sure. But let's say if your customer want to try, it's not like too sensitive for them to use it. Maybe you can use it out. But generally, I would try to avoid right now. Sometimes people are coming with the requirement, and this is the only way. Sometimes I'm thinking to clear out the requirement, then we are proposing it. But again, we are just giving them a declaration that okay, it's in preview. Maybe you will face the glitches. So right now, according to the documentation and everything, yes, avoid it. But let's say if there is no other option to do alternatively, maybe just go with this. That's fine.
Okay. Is there any date for it to be released, or Microsoft has?
Yeah, they have the whole full plan, but yeah, they have like a wave to release plan. Let me check. Wave to release for Copilot Studio. But I'm pretty sure it will not. It's 2024. Even they don't give it right now for 2025. So release plan. Here is the link. Let's see. November 2025. Enterprise data with new graph connection is 2025. This custom agents is Feb 2025. Apart from that, they haven't come up with any new dates. encryption key, WhatsApp as your communication. This is what I can see right now. I'm pasting the link here. Maybe you can just check it out. They are constantly updating that, so don't just be there. Test and debug agent in the Copilot Studio, which is available public preview, but GA will be May. So I think in May we can target this as far as I read this. Analyze action, maybe again it will again go in May. Knowledge source from custom agent, again it's May, but it can change at any time. Okay, so it's depending on how fast they do the development. Yeah, so this is like their official timeline. Let's see.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Pawan, yeah, I can see your.
Yeah, Dravin, thank you. Since this is very dynamic and proactive, so how could we restrict with respect to the security and governance?
Yeah, that is my entire next topic. In the
Okay.
next session, we will talk about the governance of Copilot and responsible AI and how we can do DLPs and PII data to be secure and everything we'll talk about in next session. So dedicated next session is all about security. That's the seventh and eighth class is all about security and authentication and distribution of the agent and all. So you will get it covered in that one. Okay.
Yeah. One more thing is like,
Perfect.
so
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm very happy with this application and all. So just I would like to do is like, I wanted to create my own agent and I would publish into the website of my own, so that
Uh-huh.
we have the users. I have only limited users there. I want to, they should be using that site or whatever. So for that, they need the license to use that website or what? Or it's free
So
of cost only.
So let's say if you are now on website as well, nothing is free in the world of Microsoft. Okay, so I mean, even they are using in their website. I mean, it will calculate the messages from your overall quota that you are getting with the Copilot Studio. Okay, so same like if they are saying hi and it will just giving the answer from the topic, it will deduct one message. So trial version, you can at least try it out. It will not ask you for any money, but moving forward, more and more consumption you have after 30 days or 40 days, probably it will throw unresponsive messages to the users. They will not be able to get the answers properly. So yeah, no matter where you are configuring, that is not mattering in the case of Copilot. What matters is what kind of orchestration you have used for your Copilot agent and what kind of response it is giving you as a response, whether it's a generative AI response or whether it's a classic response. Based on that, your billing is calculated and it will charging you. But yeah, you can do that with the trial account itself.
Okay.
All right, perfect. All right, anyone else has any other question? Okay, perfect. So I think we are.
Dravin,
Yeah, go
Dravin,
ahead.
have you used this Word 3 word connector anytime?
Which connector?
Word 3
Just
words.
let me check this. What you're talking about?
Or anyone has used this?
What is word? No, I haven't used this. Never. What it does?
Oh, it's a 3 by 3 meter
Oh,
geographical
okay.
location.
Okay.
It's they are talking about advanced then Google
Okay.
tracking and things.
Okay. Nice.
Okay.
No, I never used this.
I might have to consume. I'm just doing. So I
Okay.
thought anyone has used it because big infrastructure and big companies, lots of still there is no geographical location and properly mapping is there. So in that case, rural land and things.
Okay, I see. It's an
Yeah. Okay.
independent publisher. Yeah.
Yeah. Last and least, this solution thing, when we will be doing next class, the solution part, how depth you are going into the solution? Just a simple solution, or you're talking about patching and things also?
Yeah, we can talk about for patching because after your request I created YouTube video as well.
Yeah, I've seen
Specifically
that,
to
but
hope
for
you
the
have seen that. Yeah.
yeah, I've seen
So
that. I've seen that, but never tried to consume it.
And I started having that topic in all my Power Automate batches as well. After
Mhm.
your batch finished, and it has more stable version they have launched. After that, I now it is part of my content itself in Power Automate. Here maybe let's try it out, but I'm not
Yeah,
sure with Copilot context how much I will be able to relate that with you, because for Power Automate you can at least taste it out and see the difference, but here I'm not sure. Here I'm like, okay, packaging it up and storing that up, even that is also something a little bit risky what I have tried so far, but let's see.
yeah, no, it's
But
fine,
yeah,
fine, fine.
yeah,
So
but let's say if you have any question on that patching part,
no, no, no.
absolutely I'm happy
So,
to cover it up.
majorly this session, this whole training, I'm just taking as a evolving session for me. Okay,
Yep.
it's not a perfect, and what I'm realizing, just I was speaking to quite a big organizations, they have blocked Copilot Studio. They don't want to use. It's very much blocked in a proper huge organization because they have a risk of losing a lot of data. In a small organizations, yes, they are trying where the business and things needs to be updated on technology head, but specifically my major areas where I am around it,
Mm,
they are very fearing about this AI.
okay, I
AI.
see. I see. So that's the reason nowadays Purview is also very popular in the M365 world. So many Purview projects are going on in the organization, for big organizations specifically, to make the AI more responsible and all. So I think after Purview implementation, maybe they will start using it. I mean, I can say like it's a 2025. I can say 2026 7 is
Yeah,
something
yeah.
they will come up with definitely some tweaks where there is no option without using this, because this is like a highlight of the this particular keynotes for this year of Satya, like new UI for AI. So you can see almost everything from Power Automate you are having here. Maybe I'm thinking, I have a fear that maybe in future Power Automate will be deprecated and they will force users to use this one rather than
Oh,
writing lots of Power Automate action. Maybe I have that in my mind somewhere.
no, no,
It can
no.
happen, but
No, no,
maybe.
the sessions this nearly 2 hours before, when you were using these flows and just giving the things, I was also thinking on the same way because that's technically they will kill the
Yes,
power. But this
exactly.
Microsoft product, I will say they will never kill because of licensing.
Never
They
kill,
will.
they will not kill it, but maybe they will force, like how they are forcing like in SharePoint nowadays, like okay, you don't do much customization in the classic form, you need to use modern, right?
Mhm.
You can't use the classic designer, you need to use Power Apps, right? Maybe whatever is there you can still manage it, still maintain it, but maybe for future you just build it and go with, maybe they will change licensing as well, maybe. I'm just throwing, because the way I can see this product is to be evolved is like it it has that capability to kill that other product. So I'm not sure at this point about the vision, but slowly let's see how they come up with the, because still licensing is very costly. I mean, 25,000 messages and $200, it's pretty much higher. And the way consumption is just like generative AI and 30 message, I mean, just consider one session you start to create an item, it will
Yeah,
cost you around $1 or $2. Why organization will spend $2 to create an item? Instead of they hire someone to create this item? So these are the glitches we have with respect to pricing and all, but let's see, hopefully in future they'll introduce the cheaper licenses.
they they have to because
Yeah, otherwise no one will
actually what
buy
I'm
it
seeing,
actually.
what I'm seeing, business is getting fed up with IT.
Yeah. Yeah, business will
Thank
say
you.
that we will create it for ourselves. Maybe it's like that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, most welcome. Nikhil, you have a question?
Yep, there is a feature called skill on Copilot Studio.
Which one? Sorry.
Skill,
Skills.
add a
Okay,
skill.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So actually, skill is something. Let's say it is coming up this portion. Let's say I'm going here. Just a minute. Let me open any agent here. So skill is nothing but it is like a Azure feature specifically. So
Okay.
they have Azure Studio as well to build the Copilot. And what they come up with, let's say if you have built something over there, if you click on new action and upload a skill. So with Boat framework, which is again a code-based framework where you can define in Boat framework, there is a functionality called skill. So from that Azure Boat framework, if you want to add any additional skill, you can add it over here. So skill is nothing but the how you customize your model a little bit by training it with some sort of wording, keywords and all, that is considered as a skill. So if with the Azure boards, many people are using Azure AI Foundry, which is again another product in the world of AI with the Azure space. So in that board framework and AI Foundry, people are creating skills, which means skill is nothing but, let's say you train your model with some sort of paragraphs and you want to know that, okay, whether it has any criminal words or not. You just push some data, you train your model and you make that as a skill. So that skill, if you want to consume it inside Copilot as well, they have provided that option, like, okay, with that Azure Board Framework skill as well, you can consume inside your Copilot Studio. That is what it is, skill here in the world of Copilot.
Okay.
All right, perfect. Anything else? Okay, perfect. All right, so I think we are good to wrap up for today's class. Yeah, have a great Sunday ahead and see you in the next week. Bye.
Thank you.